basically just kind of explaining like why we're here and why we're having this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically, you know, I think a lot of us are frustrated because we want to talk about the historical harms that people have experienced in this fandom, have continued to experience over the entire 40 years of Star Wars existing, like as a community, and how this isn't new for a lot of us. For many of us, how women in particular, women of color, Black women, queer people have never been welcomed into this community. And there is a very specific kind of way that people are approaching this conversation now that is ignoring that history, that is ignoring people who are bringing up that history, and who aren't being honest about the way that we have been and I say we in the sort of collective we have been sort of complacent about the ways that these harms have shown up, not just like with the people who are like the bigots and like the racists and the misogynists, but how we as like the like positive side of the community have just like allowed things to fester in a way that have hurt a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And we are not blaming Disney and Lucasfilm enough for letting us get to this place in the first place and being dead ass silent like during all of this. So we want to kind of dig into all of those things. I know that, you know, I feel like last year there was just like that discourse for a couple of months about like toxic positivity and things like that. And I will just say, I will just speak for myself, and then we can kind of get in, like, open up the conversation to other people. Like, you know, I think when that conversation what was happening last year, I was sort of the mindset of like, you know, I do think that people are being like too Pollyanna about this fandom and aren't being like honest about things. But like, hey man, if you want to just make positive content and like that's like your thing, like whatever, it's like it's not my business. But like as I have watched this fandom over the course of this last year, and I think like for me, like, and we'll get into the conversation, but like for me, what was kind of a trigger a little bit was the relative peace I feel like we experienced during the strikes. Like people like really not even being able to have discourse like online.
Right.
And it was so peaceful. It was so nice. I was like, wow, I wish like it could always be like this. Like the group chats were amazing and we could have like great nuanced conversations there. And then when the strikes ended and then the floodgates were opened up again, I was just like, I don't want to go back to this. I don't want to do this again. And I also don't want to be treated like me talking about how fucked up this fandom is like me being a negative asshole, you know? Like, and I'm tired of that. I am tired of it. So that is why we are here today. To like really be having like a real come to Jesus conversation about the Star Wars fandom, where it is at right now, how we got here. And you know, maybe we can talk about like where do we go from here? I'm not expecting us to have like all the solutions, but like we gotta do something to move forward because this is not it. So yeah. And as I mentioned earlier in the chat, like for folks who want to get in to the chat to like say or want to be part of the conversation, we're gonna let folks in like one by one. We want to have like a good moderated conversation where like all voices are heard and respected. So we're going to be managing that, but we're going to kind of get into like the conversation amongst the four of us for a little bit before we open it up to other folks. All right. With that being said, first of all, thank you, Sue, and others who are like actually like paying attention to the chat. This is hard.
I know. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm trying to.
Yeah, see Christina and Michelle and everything here. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, go ahead.
just want to say one thing. This conversation is probably going to be very uncomfortable for many people.
Yep.
You know, I just hope that you guys, you know, have an open mind, listen to what we have to say, because if we're saying certain things, it's for a reason. Yeah. You know, not, you know, I understand, like Natasha was saying, that, you know, if you want to be, you know, just the positivity because, you know, that's your thing and everything, that's fine. But many other people don't have that luxury of just kind of like, no, it's just everything is all good, because they get the brunt of the hate, you know, and it's tiresome and people are angry, rightfully so. You know, especially when they've been having to live it for years. Yep. It's the same thing over and over and over again. So just listen, guys, you know, try to understand where, you know, we're coming from with whatever commentary we're going to have. So
I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the discomfort is how we grow. Like, we have to have these conversations that are uncomfortable, sit in it a little bit, learn from it, and then move forward. That's the only way we can grow.
Yeah.
I think it's important to avoid just like holding hands and everything is going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm in a dark place personally. Like I've stepped away from Star Wars in general. Like I fear every time I make content about it, even like when I was actively making it, it's a constant battle. It is a constant battle, and it's become detrimental. Like even to like my own existence on social media, which I want to be fun for me. If it's not fun, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
So, and it sucks that it had to be the one franchise that I really, really love, more than Game of Thrones, more than A Song of Ice and Fire. It's the first thing I've ever loved as a kid.
Yeah.
To be pushed out of it. And again, I am on a high totem pole. Like, I'm a white, straight woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I get the brunt of it. I can't imagine you guys. You know what I mean? Like, and it sucks that I don't feel even comfortable having an uncomfortable conversation, because like Natasha, like you said, you're going to be labeled negative. Why are you like talking negatively? We need to keep it positive. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
But we also need to have these conversations.
And like one of my big things is, you know, and I think it is so important that we are identifying these issues and being very realistic about them, because there is no way to move forward if we don't do that. There are no solutions that can be made. Like, if we are not actually being honest about what the problems are and the way that they are showing up in our community. And we aren't going to do that by saying, like, you know, Star Wars is like all happy time, whatever, you know, let's just be over here in our corner of Star Wars holding hands, like you said, and like, you know, singing songs, and like, you know, it's great. Like, that is not the reality of the experience that people are having. And I know I limit how I talk about Star Wars because of years. Like, I have been a fan in some capacity of like the online Star Wars like community since like 1996. Like, it was brutal back then, y'all.
There's like a revisionist history going on that this is like all of a sudden. No.
Yeah.
Really bad.
It has always been terrible. And like, it hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. And like, I feel like we have to be really honest about it. And like, we can't, the inclusion of more like female characters and female merchandising and all those sort of things is not fixing anything. Like, it's not doing anything. It is honestly only riling up the racists and sexists and things like that. And like, you know, the consistent silence from the studios and from leadership within the studios is contributing to that. And also the fact that like Star Wars has always always centered white cis men. Like that is the story of Star Wars. That's why we're here right now. And I feel like Lucasfilm are doing these and Disney are doing these small things to course correct, but like they're not doing enough. It's not enough. It's not nearly enough.
And like people are giving like Ewan McGregor credit for the most recent, like when he spoke for Moses Ingram, but he's still an employee. The employer, like that's not Disney speaking for Moses.
Yep.
Just one person, probably maybe a friend of hers in real life. We don't know that obviously, but like I don't want to like give credit to Disney for that when it's your greatest car.
Yep. It wasn't anything.
We're not holding Disney and Lucasfilm accountable enough. We're just not. Especially after today, I don't know if you guys saw my tweet, the boys runner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
After the incels are going after Aaron Moriarty, and he like went hard. Like that's the stuff that I expect, but they don't want to alienate their conservative base either.
Yep.
Exactly why they're staying silent. It's money.
Well, that's exactly it. Is like to them, both sides of the fandom benefit them because then they get views, they get money, they get engagement, they get, their properties, Star Wars. And this is like Star Wars, MCU, just like Disney as a whole, right? Like even when you see like the Disney movies with The Little Mermaid and stuff, like they don't care. They don't care. To them, that's just the people talking about it, even if it's like negative and people are bickering, like they want us at each other's throats because it gets the engagement, it gets them, the viral content that everybody gets to see. And then people are going to be like, oh, well, what is this about? And like, they get a ton of hate views. Like, like to them, it doesn't matter as long as people are watching and giving them money. And it doesn't matter like the fans, what they're doing to each other, as long as there's conversations and discussions and whatever have been, happening. To them, that's actually like a good thing. They're staying relevant. They're staying in the zeitgeist. Right. Like they're not going to stop it. They're not going to put an end to it. And they're not going to alienate any of their fan base or basically their money makers. This is a corporation in a capitalist society. That's what it is at the end of the day. They're only concerned about making money, and the only people they report to are their stakeholders who only care about making money.
Subscriptions and ratings, that is it.
That's it. It's never going to change. They're never going to do anything about it. And
there's no incentive.
Exactly. There's no incentive. Nothing. In fact, for them to actually go, actually say something and take a stand means that they're going to be losing money, means that they're going to be losing their fan base or part of it or whatnot. And like, they don't want to do that. They don't care what we do to each other. They really don't. Like to them, it's not their responsibility. The fandom is not their responsibility. They don't care. Even if they're not caring for their own employees, do you really think they're going to care about the fan base? Like, and with their employees, like, it's like to them, it's like, well, we paid you. That's really like the extent of like the contract is like, we paid you for the work that you're doing. What more do you want? And now you're famous because you're in a Star Wars property. Like, what more do you want? You're going to get, future opportunities and whatever. You should be thankful. That's really, unfortunately, what it is. Like, the blame really like heavily lies at the feet or at the doors of the studios, and they're not going to change, unfortunately.
No. In a comment that David made in the comment section, I want to point that out because that's a great point. Like, even Acolyte is a story right now. It's suffering studio interference.
Yeah,
we've seen that even in the tweets by one of the head writers saying that the episodes were chopped up and all of that. That is all just committee
so fucking bullshit.
Literally interfering with the story, cutting what they need to cut, putting restrictions so that the story doesn't feel as complete as it should. So, but we can't even talk about that like in the way it is now. It's way too rancid. That even any sort of like legit critique invites the worst of the worst. Like that conversation is very hard to have. So like for me, like I'd rather wait for the show to end and the story to play out, maybe then make some content on it, and like for everything to calm down. It's never going to be calmed down, but like right now at this moment, it feels so loud. It just feels really, really loud.
Yeah. Agreed.
I just wanted to add to, what Sue was saying about, and all of you were saying that, Disney and, just Lucasfilm and the corporations not really, putting any work in. Again, I'm going to say something that might be like a little bit like,
Say it.
I'm getting to that point too. I'm just warming up.
people are excited because Star Wars accounts is interacting with them, following them, sending them stuff, the packages, the stickers and everything. That's cool. No problem with that. But that can't be the only action that Star Wars and Disney are taking. You can't, that's not fixing anything. Absolutely nothing. All you're doing is, giving the fans, a momentary, moment of glee and happiness. But guess what? You know what's still happening? All the bigotry, all the hate, all the everything. And they're letting the fandom and the actors carry the weight of having to fight these people every single time.
On their own.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Instead of them coming out just head on, listen, we are not going to take this. And it can't be lukewarm. Like the one time we got them saying something was when the Reva thing happened. And then we never heard anything again from them. Nothing.
And that was just Ewan.
And it was Ewan.
Doing his own thing.
I think Star Wars account made one.
I think he like reposted it or
remember
something.
that.
Yeah.
But like,
no, you need to be constantly saying something. Not every time a show comes out and their actors get harassed.
Yes.
It has to be a constant thing. Hire people to manage this. And I think it was Sleepy Savior, our friend Sleepy Savior, that kind of called Star Wars out. Like, listen, you need to get people moderating your comments. Because you let these people come and make the craziest comments under your post, and you don't delete them, you don't say anything, you don't moderate, you don't nothing. You just leave it there.
Yeah.
And then who has to come in and fight this? We do. And that is
literally all the heavy lifting.
And why are you putting so much burden on us? Like,
yeah.
All right, really quick, guys. Just really quick, I don't want to interrupt. I know that I wanted to let in Star Wars Facts Guy. Do people feel okay with that? Like for a little bit? Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead, Chia. Keep going. All right.
So, and then again, uncomfortable. I see people, they because of the excitement of the Star Wars account trying to be cool with everybody and stuff, people asking, oh, can you follow me back? Oh, I love Star Wars. People asking for Star Wars to follow them back. That's fine. Ask them because, you want to be, that's something that will make you happy. But at the same time, ask them to please say something. Ask them to follow you and ask them to please speak up. Because
that never happens.
Not resolving anything. Them
and I'm
giving a follow is not resolving the problem that we're having right now.
And I'm just gonna say one more.
At the same time, don't be afraid to ask them to do more.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say one thing, and then I'm gonna let Facts Guy go. One thing is I'm gonna be honest. At this point, a little social media post is not fucking enough. I'm gonna be honest. At this point, things are rancid enough that them putting a little 4-line post about we love diversity, we Star Wars
pride, and they're done.
If I hear the phrase "Star Wars is for everyone" one more fucking time, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. It is not. It's not. I don't want to see that. That is just going to make me angry. If that is what we see from Star Wars at this point. But yes, please go. Would love to. Welcome to our live.
Thank you. Is the audio okay? You guys can hear me?
Oh yeah. Perfect.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm at the 9 to 5. But no, I appreciate you guys bringing me in, even if it's just for a little bit. I don't want to say too much because you guys have got your space, and we need to hear more from you as well. So I appreciate my little 5 minutes of talking, anyways. But yeah, I mean, I only joined in now, but from what it sounds like you guys were unpacking was like the relevant idea that Disney's not doing anything. Disney's not doing anything about it. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to say anything because they know that the majority of the audience is the conservative viewership base. And if they exile them out, then they're not going to get any views. It's a corporation. But for me personally, what's really pissed me off and set me off, and I'll try to keep it PG. That video I posted today, there was a brutal cut of me going for 5 minutes. I think we all know, everyone here is privy to the space that happened 2 days ago on Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I was told about it, and I sat in on that. That was the most egregious, disgusting, pathetic, performative shit I've ever seen in my life. That was embarrassing. That was the level of the celebrities recording their phones during COVID and telling us, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. That was disgusting. That was flat out embarrassing. That was no hate to the person, no hate to whoever hosted it, because I know they went with good intentions, but that was a platform for white guilt. That was a platform for performative behavior. That was a platform for people to self-aggrandize their own ego, to promote themselves over the cause, over what really matters. That space showed me that this community and the people within it, unfortunately, which many of us call mutuals, are deeply unserious. They are deeply unserious individuals, and they do not care at all about the issues they talk on as long as they get their clicks. How many times did people say, oh, it's going to be better if we stick together? By the way, on my podcast, if you guys want to go listen to that, how many times? Why can't we have a human being sitting and just talking about the actual issue instead of trying to insert themselves? We had people saying, oh yeah, I feel like I got to do something because they look like me. No one cares. No one cares who they look like. No one cares about your sentiments. We need action. We need agency. We need solutions. We need people actually talking, being constructive, putting their foot down. Stop mollycoddling these bigots. Stop telling these, oh, we gotta stick together. Think of the good times. How can we think of the good times when I opened this app and saw a friend getting death threats and rape threats and people threatening to dox them? Sentiments and cute mollycoddles don't do anything. Neutrality benefits the oppressor. So all these people that want to sit idle and be idle and, oh, Star Wars is positive and good. By the way, can I get my stickers? Can the Star Wars account follow me? You do nothing. You're doing nothing for this community. And I understand. I will end it before I rant. I understand I got a lot of privilege. I got a lot of skin in the game that other people don't have. It's a scary time. Not everyone wants to speak up. Not everyone feels safe to speak up. That's fine. No shade. I can't police people's personal experiences on how to engage with this. The majority of that Twitter space was white men yapping. If you are going to speak, say something substantial, or shut up and amplify the voices that actually matter. That's all I'm seeing in this community, whether it be TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. That's all I'm seeing. I'm seeing people hijack the mic to suck themselves off instead of actually talking about the issue. Toxic positivity, Star Wars will never be as bad, because you can never be as bad as a bigot, but oh boy, they're not doing anything. It's the fox at a distance. It looks like it's smiling, but when you get closer, you see it bares its teeth at you actually. It was embarrassing. Flat out fucking embarrassing. That's the gist of it.
Yeah. As somebody who watched the entirety of that, listened to the entirety of that space, and I'm going to be so radically honest with you guys. I'm going to be so fucking for real. I went to bed fucking pissed. I was angry. I woke up angry, and I was just like, one of my biggest tenets is like, you know, in my real life, you know, I do a lot of community organizing work, right? And like that is like something that is very meaningful and like is like a very fulfilling part of, you know, who I am and all these things. And when I am in spaces from like a community standpoint and I see a space that is completely absent, women of color in particular, Black women especially, I ask myself the question, why? I ask myself, like, why is this space absent of this voice? Why is it that nobody felt safe enough. And I'm going to be honest, I'm speaking for myself too. I was like, I do not want to enter into this conversation because, like, I'm going to be so frank. I don't want to put you on the spot, JJ, but the way that you were treated in that live was absolutely fucking unacceptable.
Yep.
And I'm seeing a well-respected, well-revered, well-loved white woman in this community, like, being treated like this. I'm not going in there. There's no way. I'm doing that to myself, and I know there is no way I was the only one who felt that way. There is no way I was the only one who felt that way.
Listening the whole time, like, what is going on? Why are they not letting JJ speak? Like, they kept cutting her off every time that she, like, started getting the, juicy conversation, and then immediately got cut off. Mostly by a white dude, by a white guy.
Toxic positivity. You can't say anything bad, otherwise you're not going to get your stickers. You're not going to get your yard hordes. You gotta behave yourself. It's no, yeah.
Keep going.
Like, I feel like we should be entitled to feel some type of way. Like, I'm like, if I don't feel good about the fandom, about what's going on, like, I think I should safely say that. And I felt like I was like the lone wolf in there, feeling jaded, feeling a little bit down, not seeing the hope, not seeing the solution. Like, and I was tamed. Let me tell you that right now. Tame. Trying to, like, again, stay positive. I don't know. Like, no hate to anybody. I want to make that clear. A lot of dear friends were in that space, but I
agree.
I need them to know that. But it did feel quite uncomfortable being talked over like 15 times and gaslit towards.
And
that's what's, and we were messaging right after it privately, you and I, Natasha. Like, I felt like gaslit out of, like, what's going on? I'm like, I'm not seeing the whole, the Rey movies coming out. That character has been contentious for years. Like, we've been in the trenches defending this character. First female lead of Star Wars. When the movie's coming out, it's not going to be an easy battle. I'm like, well, I live near Disney. There's 3-year-olds wearing Rey shirts. It's fine. You have got to be kidding me.
Yeah. And my thing is, and definitely I want to hear from others as well, but, like, I also want to name, like, what JJ is saying. Like, there are people on that live that, like, I consider friends. I think that the energy going into that space definitely was one. We want to, at least at the start of that conversation anyway, felt like we are recognizing that there are things happening in this community that are harming people, and we want to talk about it, and we want to, like, we want to be open, and we want to have discourse that, like, matters about that. Like, it was clear to me that that was, like, the purpose and the start of why this conversation was being opened in this way, right? Like, I really do truly believe that. I think the problem is when we have a space that continually centers white men and the opinions and safety, not even safety, because, like, white men are fine in this space, but like centering sort of, like, the voices and opinions and all of those things of, like, a very like white centric male lens. We're already not having the conversation we need to be having. Like, we've already lost the thread from the very beginning. Like, any conversation we are having about Star Wars and the toxicity in this community has to center and focus on the people who are experiencing the most harm in this community. The people who have experienced historically and currently the most harm. That's not what that conversation was. Like, is that where it started? No, but that's where it ended up. And I left it feeling very much like, do I have a place in this community? And these are the ways that we are holding these kinds of conversations. And, like, I think last thing I'll say for now, and then pause, I do want to hear other people, is, like, I think that if you are a white person in particular with a large-ish platform, like in this community, you actually have a responsibility. You have, like, it is your duty, actually, as somebody in this community, to uplift and, like, center the voices of people that you know are experiencing the most harm. And if you're not doing that, like, I need you to actually, like, take a minute and, like, pause and look internally and think about, like, your place in this community. And, like, what are you actually doing for real? Because, like, people are experiencing crazy ass shit in this, like, space right now. People are like, I mean, the rape threats, the death threats, you know? Like, I hate it. Anytime I make a video and it goes even slightly viral, because, like, I know I am going to get, like, a litany of racist fucking shit that people are going to say to and about me. I know I'm going to have to deal with, like, people, like, I'm going to have to, like, delete and block a bunch of people who are going to just throw racist slurs at me. And, like, I know that that is the experience I'm going to have. So I don't want to have, like, a huge platform. I don't want that. That feels terrible to me. And that makes me feel really sad because, like, I feel, not for me specifically, but a lot of people in this community who are marginalized, who have a lot of beautiful things to say, who have a perspective I want to see and hear, who are too scared to actually, like, give that perspective. That's not fair. And, like, for us to actually not talk about that and not say that that is, like, a reality for a lot of people in this community feels violent to me. Yeah.
Just real quick, Nat. Amber said that she couldn't mod for us because there was somebody in here kind of annoying. So that you just gotta press on her name.
Oh, wait.
Goes. Oh my god.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Who wanted to be it? The
Amber.
Oh,
Amber Medina
You
West.
just gotta press on her name and then you can make her.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
All right, done.
Thanks, Amber, for doing this.
Thank you so much, Amber. I appreciate you.
Because, yeah, I cannot do both.
No. And I think
So
even
just
as speakers, we have like
asking
limited.
what we were talking about with the space. So we had, a friend of ours go on Twitter and host a space. Basically, we go live on Twitter, but it's only like audio. And, kind of, it was an impromptu thing. We talked about, what's going on with Star Wars right now in the fandom. And, a lot of people came and that's what we're discussing, that the majority of people that we're talking with were white men.
Yeah.
And they were giving their discourse. They were just talking about being positive. Everything is awesome. Not giving any real discourse about what the problem is concerning, marginalized groups in this fandom. JJ was trying to have that kind of, bring that discourse in, and they kept cutting her off every single time that she would start, getting into that discourse. So, it was just very frustrating to hear that conversation in that moment. That's why we decided to come and have this discussion now, because we want to make sure that every single thing, the importance, is really being said. Go ahead, take it.
I don't want to hijack the mic. I just got to leave in like 2 minutes. I just wanted to wrap and close, but I appreciate it. I don't want to speak over anyone. I saw someone in the comments say, "What should we do next?" And if I had a closing statement for what we should do next, people need to start getting used to the idea of being uncomfortable in these conversations.
Yeah.
I don't think you can sit in a conversation that deals with issues this extreme and that offend and attack at such a personal level and not feel uncomfortable. So with the same energy that people want to preach to the choir about how morally righteous they are and how they are a safe space and how, it's all good and you can subscribe to my podcast for a safe space and you can be in our safe little bubble together, that same energy needs to be towards feeling uncomfortable. and asking the uncomfortable questions and being willing to be corrected if you are going too far or doing too much or if people disagree. People need to take the idea of criticism and stop using it as an attack on the self, but an attack on the idea. We're unpacking the idea together. So going forward, the only thing we can do is, one, have genuine, actual conversations, and two, people need to deal with their own shit. People need to detach that part of themselves and actually sit in earnest and in goodness. And those people who do that, they're going to be the ones that make the difference. They're going to be the ones that in 6 months' time, or in a year's time, or when the Ray movie comes out, or when the next movie comes out, those people who take the time to be uncomfortable and feel and unpack are going to be the ones making the difference. They're not going to be the ones sitting with empty hands going, oh my gosh, I can't believe Daisy Ridley's getting bullied again. That's so sad, right, guys? That's so sad. If only there was a Twitter space that we could join together and hold hands and it'll all get better. Yeah, no, none of that. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. You guys have put it a lot more eloquently and a lot more politely. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me, even for a little bit. Love you all dearly. I'm gonna go back to the work camps, but have a good rest of your guys' stream. Love you all.
Thank you, Sai.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
You knew he was going to bring in heat.
Oh, absolutely. Always.
Incredible.
We call them the Tate Riles.
I love Tate so much. Does anybody else? I think Chase. Do you want to do folks want to talk for a little bit, or do we feel cool with
If you have the requests, bring them in.
Okay. All right. All right. I've got all the power. Okay. I'm gonna.
Damn right you do. Where's he at?
Uh-oh.
Hey, let me see your beautiful face. Where are you?
Where'd you go?
Nah, Chase. Why are you just teasing us over here, bro?
Technical difficulties?
Oh my
Are you there?
gosh. Oh my gosh, what's going on?
You don't want to talk to us. Is that how it is? Fine.
He was like, actually, never mind. Fair.
He's like, no.
Okay, I feel like, okay. Is there anybody else? If folks want to join, just like request to be added, and I can add you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to add anybody that wants to be added.
Little kitty.
Okay.
This one, her name is Whitey. He had the most white fur when I rescued a batch of kittens from a bad situation.
Okay, I'm adding in Marianne and then Chaco.
Okay.
Let's start with Marianne and then Chaco. I'll add you in a little bit.
Hi, Marianne.
Oh my God.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay?
You're okay. Are you okay?
I was trying to get my cat off my desk. And
All I say was my cat.
Chaos monster.
And-
I love him.
yeah, the cat. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello, Tate, number one fan. You're funny. So, what I wanted to say, as a white cis woman, what I wanted to say was Tate's video, and I'm sorry, Roper, go away. Natasha, your video as well. It really opened my eyes. I'm so sorry for the. Hold on one second. Roper.
This is me on every podcast with my cat.
They're playing with the cat. Anyways, but I wanted to say, as a white woman in this fandom, what you and Tate, when Nat and Tate had said, I saw Nat's videos first, then I went back to Tate's, and then I came back to Nat's video and listened. It opened my eyes to the toxic positivity that you all were talking about, because, for a long time I've been subscribing to the fact of just ignore, don't feed the trolls, don't engage with the trolls, just ignore them, and they won't, that'll dampen the fire or whatnot. But now, because the last few days I've been so incredibly angry with seeing what was going on Twitter, and I've just been so angry, and I don't know how to put it into words. So hearing Tate and Nat, what you had to say, it was like, yes, but it also opened my eyes to my own privileges, I guess you could say, as a white woman. And so I want to thank you for that, because now I'm going to take this time to think about, okay, what can I do as a white woman? As JJ said, I'm up there, you know, a white cis woman, I'm up there. So what can I do as a white woman, and all white women, what can we do to support those who are being affected? Because yes, while I am getting some of the hate, Black people, Indigenous people, people of color, LGBTQI+, they're getting worse than me. And so what can I do to elevate those voices and to make sure that your voices are heard, and that we can just nip this in the bud, I guess, or just be like, we're done. You know what I mean? And so I want to thank you for that. And I am going to be taking that time to just think about what I can do. And if I have to get angry and post angry videos, yeah, because I've been working. I was trying to make an angry TikTok today, but I was like, I don't know how to go about this eloquently without sounding angry. But you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm going to be angry because I don't want this fandom. I don't want women of color, people of color, Black people, Indigenous people, queer people to feel unincluded in this fandom. I love this franchise so very much, and I want you all to love this franchise too, and to be loved by this franchise, to be included. I love seeing all the inclusivity in it, and I will fight for you. I will fight for you now. I'm sorry that well, you know, actually, you know what? I'm not making this about myself. I will fight for you. This is about you guys. This is not about me. This is not about me, and I will fight for you, and I will, like, fuck them all. Fuck them all. I'm angry. I'm angry for you. Just fuck them all. So that's what I got to say. Again, thank you. Thank you for opening my eyes to that, and for making me realize that it's time to stop ignoring, and it's time to start fighting, and to start screaming and yelling, because it needs to happen. And as a white woman, yes, it will happen. So,
and you know what's funny, Marianne? You're saying that the video I made was tame, the way I go, and I am still called aggressive. In that, and I need to chill. You're aggressive. Like, I still have it in the comments, and I was being tame. You can't even win, even if you're screaming, even if you're tame, and even if you're in the middle. But you can't, like, let that deter you.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I want to fight with you guys. I want to fight for you guys. Whatever. I don't want to be afraid anymore.
Either side, because again, yes, we have the bigots and the racists and stuff that are gonna come to you for being like, oh, why are you being so emotional? You're being a woman, and then you're gonna have, you know, our side, or, you know, the positive side, like, oh, but why are you being so negative? Why are you being so angry? It shouldn't be like that. We just gotta focus on the positivity.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore.
Like JJ said, because I seen the comments on your videos, like, I was like, oh my god, can she express herself? Can she, like, really feel what she's feeling, you know? So we just got to do it now that we know that we're open to it, that many more of us feel the same way. Let's not be afraid. Let's go.
Yeah.
No.
The time is to speak now. The time is to speak now. So anyways, I love you all. You are gorgeous. You're wonderful. And I'm here for you. If you need me, I'm here for you. Okay, I love you all. So thank you for letting me speak. I give this back to you. You all are beautiful and wonderful.
I love you, Marianne. You as
I
well.
love you. Oh my God, get out of this. Hold on, I gotta figure out how to get out of this. It's been so long since I've
Don't worry about it.
Here we go. Okay, I found it. Okay, love you all. Bye.
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 All right, I'm adding Chaco. Okay, and if anyone else wants to be added, just like request, and yeah.
Hello, dear.
Hello. How you guys doing? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You sound great.
All right, so I'm curious. Well, for one thing, there's one thing I did that I regret doing now, and I think it was not my decision to do, but there have been times when I've not asked someone to, like, come on and talk about a subject because I was afraid about the hate that person would get, potentially. And I shouldn't make that decision for other people, you know, and so for that I apologize. I have trouble calibrating with this type of thing myself because I can yell at people all day. I think it's funny. But I don't know, I guess and JJ, you've definitely helped me out with this to calibrate on certain ideas and topics. But I don't know. I guess how can I get you guys involved more? How can I help with the platform that I've built?
Yeah. Oh, Choco. What are the good ones? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to hear what other people think. I will just say that the things that I know I have seen folks do in the past who have large platforms is just like allowing like a marginalized group of people, whether we're talking about a group of Black women or women of color or like women in general or like queer people or whatever, do like a takeover, you know, like of your platform and being like, hey, I'm going to completely decenter my voice here. And like, I'm just going to let these people like actually like use this platform to speak on the things that they feel like are important. Like when I have seen that happen, I feel like that's been really powerful. I think this is like really the hard thing that I think like a lot of people are feeling really uncomfortable with is like calling out Disney directly. I think that is like the thing that I feel like people are feeling some direct discomfort in. And, you know, I made a video about this earlier. And one of the things that I feel very strongly about when it comes to Disney's responsibility in this is not just, you know, the fact that they are silent. That's bad. It's awful. Like they need to say more, right? But it's more about historically what is the storytelling of Star Wars signaling to people. Obviously, there is messaging of like resistance. There is a messaging of like, you know, things like found family and fighting oppression and all of those things are inherent in Star Wars. But if we're being completely fucking honest, the people who are actually represented in those stories are white men, like really at its core. And it is a very recent thing that we are seeing anything other than that. And I feel like there has to be some acknowledgement that the storytelling in Star Wars inherently, the way that it uses other cultures but doesn't include those people in the stories at all. Like I can go on and on and on about the Black woman representation in Star Wars. I could talk about that for hours.
Oh, it's bad.
It is really bad. So like I think like there are things that are inherent in the storytelling of Star Wars that is signaling that it's like okay for these like racist, misogynist opinions to exist and to thrive. And like I think we need to be honest and call that out when we talk about Star Wars and when we talk about like the storytelling and when we do like analysis, we need to be real about like this is a part of Star Wars' history. Yeah, there are all of these really beautiful things that like, which is like that things that we all have connected to and why we care about this world so much, but it's not perfect. It's been incredibly not perfect, actually. And like, I think the longer we focus on all of these things that we love about Star Wars and are positive, and we are not focusing enough on the ways in which Star Wars is actually like, the storytelling itself has actually hurt marginalized communities, we are doing a disservice to those communities that are being impacted by that. And I think like that's like one of my biggest things. I think we need to be honest about that because like there is a reason why white nationalist creeps feel so comfortable in this space and feel so comfortable in this story. It's not coming out of nowhere. And I think like we just have to be truthful about that when we do our analysis. But yeah, I don't know. Sue, I know like you've talked about a lot of this, like from like the North African perspective a lot. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you wanted to, and I mean, I feel like you have a lot to say on this too. But yeah, I would be curious to hear from you guys.
Who do you want to go?
Sure. Yeah.
That's why Anakin fans kind of scare me, because he is like a good kid that falls down the alt-right pipeline. That's literally Anakin's story.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. And but then the obviously majority of the fans that love Anakin are cis white men, because they see themselves so clearly in him, and they don't. But they love him to a certain point, and then they don't see the part where
He becomes a Nazi.
A genocidal maniac that murders planets.
Genocidal maniac.
he's a bad
It's like
person.
when people idolize like Paul Atreides, Anakin, Homelander. I can go on.
What's happening?
This is talking as an Anakin. You guys already know me and Anakin. I mean, hello.
We know we should be.
But hello, dude is a bad person at a certain point of his life. No, and then let's say they stay there. Do you forget that he also supposedly, his redemption or whatever, he gets back out of that? Like, why do you stay in the bad part of Anakin's life? Why don't you follow his steps all the way to the end and redeem yourself and like be a better person?
Yeah.
They like the badass parts and the hard breathing, but not the redemption part where you're soft for your son for a minute.
I feel like I need a Star Wars shirt that just says "Be a better person."
Oh
Anakin can be forgiven, but not Bo-Katan. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Can we talk about Saw Gerrera? Because
Saw Gerrera too.
Sagarera. And Emily, I wish Emily was here because she talked about this extensively.
That was amazing.
Because Saw Gerrera and Luthen are just basically mirrors of each other. But then Luthen is like, oh my God, such a badass. And just, he's doing it. Yes, we already know that what he's doing might not be the most moral stuff, but, he's doing it for a reason. But Saw Gerrera was
Don't
rough.
get me started on Saw Gerrera. I am going to blow a gasket.
It's his fault Tech died. I'm like, oh my God, please.
Yes.
Please.
So, I mean, just to start with, does each of you want to do like a full-on rant on my channel, on my account?
I'd love to. I would love to.
Because I would love it. I love hearing it, or a conversation. Because I post clips of conversations and I put the whole thing on YouTube. I want to do it. I would love to do more of that. I don't want to bring any negativity on you guys for participating, but I want. That's one of the reasons why I brought it back, is because I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is important to get the different perspectives from people of various backgrounds and identities to talk about things that are in Star Wars, because like Nat was saying, the Black women in Star Wars is terribly done, right?
Yeah.
And I can from an outside perspective look at that, but I'm not going to be able to come into the conversation with nuance because I'm not a Black woman. But for me, the North African experience, I can go in and be like, well, this is what they did with the Tuscans. This is what they did with this character. This is what they did with and the Muslim experience as well. Barris. Don't even get me started on Barris. So many different things that I can speak about because of my lived experiences, because of my intersection of identities, because of the communities that I belong to, and having those conversations in a way where it's more of we have the space to have those conversations, but then it's also in a way that other people can listen in and learn, because if they aren't, North African or Muslim, they're not gonna, see the significance of having the first Tunisian actor in Andor with an actual speaking role. Because before that, the only other Arab that we had was it Rise of Skywalker? One of the sequel movies, and he was just an imperial.
The franchise that
officer.
started in Tunisia.
Yeah, I don't even exactly. Star Wars started in Tunisia. Like Tatooine literally uses the name of a town in Tunisia, and 40-some years later, we finally get a Tunisian representation on screen. Like nobody else would have clocked him as being North African unless you're North African. And I looked him up and I was like, he is North African. Nobody else, and the name as well, Wilman Pack, that doesn't signal that he's a North African character. But that's the thing is we should really be platforming and bringing in the diverse voices, people of various backgrounds, of various identities, who can point these things out, who can bring these perspectives in and have these conversations and educate and be a chance for all of us to learn. But I do understand, Chaco, what you're saying about having hate be directed at a person that you bring onto your platform. I haven't had a ton of experience, but from my experience being on podcasts, I've never had hate come towards me from that. If anything, maybe it stayed on the chats during those podcasts, but I've personally never had. I don't know if other people have had other experiences, but for me anyways, I haven't, and so I'd be willing to continue doing those. But I think it's more important to have those conversations and have those perspectives be brought to light, because there is so many, like Nat was saying, so many different cultures that Star Wars borrows from without including the people from those cultures in there. And so we should really be having those conversations as well, because it's not just Star Wars is good, Star Wars, everything is fine, everything is great, Star Wars is for everyone. That's never really been the history of Star Wars. Star Wars, George Lucas has borrowed / stolen from a lot of other cultures and done it in ways that weren't necessarily great. And we need to be able to acknowledge that. And that won't remove, or it won't reduce my enjoyment of Star Wars or my love for it, but it gives me at least an appreciation for the cultures that he's taken from, and have a better understanding of the people belonging to those cultures.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Okay. I'll be reaching out to everyone soon. Thank you for having me on. I'll let you guys continue talking. I'll hop back in the chat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, and we appreciate
Also, I'm embarrassed because I have no pictures here, and it makes me feel like I'm in an insane asylum.
Normal setup.
I had to do this. Also, his face is just perfect for that. This is how he's looking at the bigot.
Is that Kamir?
Yeah, it is.
He looks insane.
I cannot even deal with it. It
because
is.
that's how we're feeling right now. What?
Yeah, that's.
So I
didn't realize that was Kamir, but he looks insane.
There was another photo that I saw on Twitter with just hearts all around, and I couldn't find that one. I found this one. I was like, this face is too perfect.
I didn't know. You covered it with your head. I didn't see. I'm like,
I know. I'm like, I wasn't sure if people would see, but there you go. Here's the beautiful Manny Jacinto as
I thought it was Keanu Reeves. I'm so
I thought it was Keanu Reeves.
That is his husband.
On brand.
If you didn't know, that he's her
Portal.
boo.
Yeah, I mean, I would believe that. I would believe that too. But.
His facial expression is so perfect for this conversation.
Exactly.
Like that little girl with the side eye, what?
He looks like the master, but that was fed up with his kids.
Yes. His apprentice just did something completely stupid, and he's like,
yeah.
Oh,
again, that face with all of us. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Again, if anybody else wants to join, please request, and I will. But yeah, I think. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to say that I appreciate Chaco bringing up the fact that what he can do with his platform and that, and all you guys were able to basically say that it's very important to bring different people on the platform to talk about the different issues from a cultural perspective. And I just want to shout out Danielle that couldn't join us today.
Please, seriously.
Conversation. When it comes
Incredible.
to the conversation, because with the whole situation with Marva, because Marva badass, everybody's like, yo, the speech and everything, whatever, but it's always gonna be that one little thing right there. Hello, she essentially kidnapped the brown little kid, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Took him from
Yeah.
the planet.
And like, oh, go ahead.
And
Sorry.
it was never addressed. Like, it was never a talking point. Like, you know, it was just like, oh no, everybody was like, oh, she rescued him and stuff. No, this is something that happens in real life.
Yeah. It's
Exactly. She stole him. And that's something that happens in real life. We see that now with little kids on the border, little brown kids, all these little immigrants that are, you know, unfortunately are there by themselves. And then we see all these American white families like, oh, I want to adopt you. I'll adopt you. I'm doing the right thing. No, that's, you know, so that it's very parallel with, you know, with real life. And I think, again, Danielle, I'm very thankful that, you know, she's very vocal about stuff like that. And she was able to bring these conversations of the problematic issues in Andor. So
Yep.
I want to give her a shout out.
That's exactly right. We praise Andor because it's good. It's great. Don't get me wrong. It is one of peak. I hate using that word, but it is. It's up there. It's high on the one of the better Star Wars projects. But it's not beyond scrutiny. It's making certain choices that are not really talked about. Same goes with Book of Boba Fett. I will hammer this to the ground every time. We all talk about the Power Rangers bicycles, like that's the outrage. There's no one outraged by the Phrygian of the Tuscans who are coded natives.
all of them.
Thank you.
You fucking kid. I
Thank you.
hate it. Like, and then the whole show is hijacked by Mandalorian, which is a giant ass commercial for more Grogu merchandise. Like, and I'm supposed to fawn over that, the Tuscan Phrygian, that like in a character. Tamir Morrison is a brown man getting his own show being hijacked by another TV show, and his pain is used to fridge essentially another native culture. Like, it's a serious problem. I love Boba Fett as a character. I was so excited for that show that he's coming back. Like that was like my bread and butter. Like, that Boba Fett is mine. Like, I love him. And it's such a disappointment. Like, all of these projects, there's a lot of good in them. But there's also stuff that it's not good. I love The Last Jedi. It is not perfect. There's parts of it that could have been better. This should have been done a little bit more carefully. And The Rise of Skywalker has serious fucking problems. It removes an Asian woman out of the equation. And I do not understand how we can just, I love The Rise of Skywalker. It's entertaining. No, stop. You can enjoy parts of it, but you have to recognize other parts of it. Sorry, I'm getting a little hot.
No, first of all, you know that you and me and Rise of Skywalker were right. We are right there. So like, you're never gonna get an argument out of me. But like, I think like this is one of the things that I try to articulate a lot when I talk about Star Wars, because you know, again, just going back to Andor for a hot second. Listen, like we've all said, I love Andor, okay? I do think it is like probably the best thing quality-wise we have really ever gotten out of Star Wars. I feel like that is inarguable. Like, I do believe that, right? And I had to sit through week after week after week of black bodies just being completely disposable to never to be mentioned again, no consequence, over and over and over and over and over again, like week after week. It just kept happening. I was like, what is going? Yeah, that face. I was making that face every fucking week watching that show. Again, I've said this on Twitter. I've said this on this app. It is a show helmed by a white man, written by white men, like where all the white men drive the story. Where's Andor in the story? Where's Cassian Andor in the story? I thought I was watching this show for him. And I feel like he's like a side character in his own fucking show. I was like, I was going into it being like, I'm so excited for our like Latino Star Wars like community. What the fuck happened here? Like I felt like outraged by that part of the show while being able to acknowledge all of the things that the show does well. And I think that is the problem with this community. Like, we can't hold two different things at the same time. Like, it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts everything is either like the worst thing that's ever made or the best thing that's ever made. And I'm like, why? Where's the nuance? Where can we have like discourse about things where things are somewhere in the middle, or maybe something is like more to the edge of being really great or really bad, but like where's sort of the nuance in that conversation of that thing? Listen, y'all know that I am the biggest Ahsoka fan out here. And you know, I really loved the Ahsoka show, but I have some pretty significant critiques of Ahsoka. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have some pretty significant critiques of Ahsoka. And what really bothers me about shows like these, where I want to, and I feel like JJ, you've talked about this so much. I want to be able to get on these apps and be like, here are the issues I had with this. Here are the problems I have. I would love to line out the things where I feel like this should have been done differently, or I would have connected better with the story if this had been done, or XYZ thing. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the second I open my mouth and I'm like, hey, Ahsoka really failed at this part of the storytelling journey for me, without it turning into, I guess they shouldn't have cast a black woman to be, it becomes that conversation, and I feel like I cannot have a nuanced conversation at all about anything.
Or the other side is like, you see, you shouldn't have said that because now you invited the bigots. Like
I'm the problem.
It's not a fail.
Damn if you don't, Damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Damn if you do.
Okay.
That's exactly it.
Need something. We can't just be everything is good. No, all Star Wars is good, no matter what. And you can't get mad at people having legit criticism. Not the bigotry, not the, it's just woke and trash. Because that's not legit criticism. You understand? Mm-hmm. But when people have concerns about, again, cultural things or the storytelling part, or something didn't work a certain way, don't come at them saying, why are you saying this? Stop being so negative all the time. Stop, why does everything have to be so bad all the time for you? Like, why you just focus on the positive, focus on the stuff that you like. That's what you should. Why? I want to talk about it in every aspect.
I'm like, why? And I'm gonna invite Boba Fett in a second. I know they've been trying to get into this chat for a moment, but to kind of a direct response to that, I know that there are folks that really do feel like, negative criticism, will continue to be part of the problem and will feed the beast, and saying, no, I'm sorry. It's a piece of art, and I should be able to talk about art with a critical lens whenever I want to. And I'm not the problem if I want to engage with art that way. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not the problem here. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there is this feeling of the fandom is if you do that, you're really encouraging. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm having critical discourse about a piece of art.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's what art is supposed to be for, to critique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of us cannot enjoy essentially a circle jerk of everybody just saying everything is awesome. Star Wars is for everyone. You opened it for everybody. That means everyone. Yeah. Bigots included. Yeah. Morons included. Misogynists, homophobes, racists, you name it. That includes them when it's everybody. Yeah. No, flush them out.
Bye. Get out.
Real quick, listen, and I'm not going to say that I haven't been that, because I've been guilty of that too at certain times. No, let's just talk about, because it gets so crazy with the side. It's okay, all right. Let me not say anything because I don't want to keep adding to that side of the fandom. But then at one point, I'm stifled. And now I'm being silenced because I'm scared, Mm-hmm. So I understand people want to be positive. Trust me, I've been there.
Same.
I wish.
Something gotta give,
Welcome.
Hi. I didn't want to interrupt anybody.
No.
Hello, dear.
Welcome.
Look how pretty you are.
Yes.
No, stop it.
Yes, always look so good.
With your red hair now, like your red hair.
I do like it. Am I probably going to keep it? I did want to say something before I forgot about that. Wait, no, it wasn't Tusken Raiders. It was about Andor's mom, like taking him. And then we never address it again, by the way. It is never brought up again. And I'm hoping like in season 2 it is, but like the whole purpose of him like trying to do things in that series is to find his sister, which she's also lost. And I'm like, and I found myself being really moved, right? Because that actress was very good. She was very good. And then I was irritated because I was like, but wait, she took him from his planet, from his whole family, and we never talk about it again.
Right.
Right. And that's,
They show that Marva loves her son, quote unquote. They have like this bond, mother, which is fine. That's in the context of the story and the relationship. Yeah, but you have to address this. What actually happened?
Yeah.
She stole a brown child from his home.
and now we can't because she's gone. So like she can't have that conversation with him of like, oh, well, and she could have said something as simple as like, I had to take you literally right then, or they would have killed us or something. But they didn't even do that. It was just, I'm going to take this brown kid off planet.
No
okay.
reason for it. Yeah, there was no reason for it. And like, I mean, there were so many, again, I don't want to keep qualifying this but I feel like as new people join this live, I want to just reiterate, I love the show Andor. Please don't go in the comments.
We all do.
It's so good.
Just calm down first before I say this. But like, I think Andor is great, and it really failed, like, in terms of, and Cassian's story right now is like lost. Like what is it? Like they didn't really articulate anything about like what was going on with this like tribe of young people he was with, right? Like they didn't. What happened with his sister? What happened after he left? Like there was just nothing. Both of the people that took him are dead. So like they can't articulate anything in the story. And I'm gonna be honest, a little other side thing that really rubbed me the wrong way with like the father, they chose to keep the white mom, like killed off his black father. And while
I forgot about that.
And while they did
the way they did it,
see what happened to him, they heavily implied that he was lynched, which is crazy. That was.
I feel like I need to go back and watch it because I totally legitimately forgot about that.
That's exactly it. It was wild.
Yeah, no, he. Yeah,
in the town square, like
to his feet hanging. Yeah, you're right.
They did. They show. It,
I was flabbergasted by that. I was like, and this is why I'm like, first of all, I didn't really know like anything about like the writer's room of Andor, but I immediately knew upon watching that episode alone, there was not a single black person involved in that writer's room because nobody would have signed off on like that as a storytelling tool in that context. That is wild. And that is why it's so, and again, this goes back to my, like, it's not just the bigots. Like, it is, like, the storytelling that is encouraging these bigots. Yeah. That is part of the problem that we keep running up against. Because, like, when you don't have any diversity in your writer's room, when it is only white men, I don't think that they did it on purpose. I don't. Like, I'm sure they didn't. But, like, it's just not something that would even be on your mind, like, as, like, a thing to, like, think about in a historical context of, like, what would it mean for this white woman to snatch this brown child? What would it mean to have this, like, black man lynched in the middle of, like, the town square? Like, there's no thought to that because they have a room filled with white men who have no context or understanding of that story's significance.
I think that's why it shocked me with the Tuscans too, because it was Robert Rodriguez. And because I do have some respect for him as a filmmaker, I was really looking forward to that story, like, progressing and hoping that, like, not all of them maybe had been killed. And then when they just kind of left it where it was, I was like, hold up.
Shocking. Shocking.
especially because it's Robert Rodriguez. I just
And especially right after they like started humanizing the Tuscans,
yes,
West African coded nomadic tribe that was just portrayed as like these savages, like these murderers, these killers that were just like completely barbaric, stereotypically so.
yes.
All the way till they started humanizing them a little bit in Mandalorian. I was like, oh. And then in Book of Boba Fett, they really go all in. And then for Jamal,
Like, it was so beautiful until it wasn't. Like, it was so good, and then they just used them as a plot device
exactly.
for Boba Fett,
Well,
and it was so ucky. Like, and that's like an understatement is to use the word ucky, but like, it was just, I was really hoping that they would come, like, there'd be some that were survived, and they'd come at the end, right, and help. I really thought that's what was going to happen, and that didn't happen. I was like,
been in that
Really
place.
believe
The entire
that.
tribe.
The entire
It wasn't even just like one person for him to like get motivated, which I hate bridging whether in every
Right,
aspect of telling. It's to me it's yucky trope. But like they literally eradicated an entire tribe. They burned him alive. If I remember correctly when he returns. It's a very graphic scene.
Yeah.
That freaked me out.
The second time they do this with the Tuscans, by the way,
Yep.
the first time with
Correct.
Anakin, 2 times that they used an entire tribe of Tuscans, just completely murdered senselessly with no regard, showing it just to drive a character's growth forward. But
I was blown away by that. When I tell you, I was convinced up until like maybe the last few minutes of the episode, like of the finale. I was like, there's no way. I was like, there's no way they did this twice. They wouldn't do this 2 times. Like,
and both times they never really addressed
something's
it.
gonna happen. They're gonna come back. We're gonna find out that it was like a scam. Like we're gonna something's gonna happen.
Some of them survived, escaped, whatever. No.
When we get to the end credits of that finale, I was like, wow.
They were such an important part of Boba's journey.
I know.
He was such an important part of his journey, and they
How is it that they're not
part of
going to
that
be part
tribe?
of now that he's in a good place? They should be there with him because
How are
they're
they not involved in that
because-
final fight?
Yes.
Why were they with him?
Like symbolically, like if you have to kill a few of them for plot, whatever shit to move it forward and plot character growth and whatever the hell.
But the whole tribe?
Why? But the whole tribe.
I can't
The
believe
children too?
I
the
can't believe they
children.
made an indigenous man do that storyline. That is
Right.
absolutely that is diabolical.
Like, not only did you have a Latino director, but then you have, is he Samoan?
He's
Why do I always- sorry,
look up.
He's
Who plays Boba Fett?
Pacific Islander. I don't
Timur
know.
Morrison.
Maori, I think.
He's
yeah,
Maori.
yeah,
So you had, that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
the
I mean,
absolute inability to have awareness is
Shocking.
staggering. And I probably wouldn't have noticed, maybe if this was me like 10 years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Of course I do now. But like, yeah, after watching it, I was like, I really want to be like, have positive energy and like be hopeful about this. And I did until like the last episode. I'm like, there's no mention of them even. There's no like, I mean, he's got like pieces of their stuff on his uniform and stuff, and I get that, but like, it's not enough. It's just gross. I really didn't like it, and that's upsetting because he did such a beautiful job of making them such a fascinating culture.
It was so good, and then not only did they disappear the entire tribe, but then after that happened, it was like 2 episodes of Boba Fett himself being disappeared from the show.
He's not even a star of his own show.
And what sucks about that too is that, because I think Bryce Dallas Howard directed that episode, if I remember correctly, because I remember being like, but it was a really good episode, but it didn't belong in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Thank you.
It was so good, but why was it in Book of Boba Fett? Disney, what are you doing?
It was such a short show as well. It was shorter than the
6
Mandalorian.
episodes,
I think it was
right?
Like 6? And you
Yeah, it
derailed
was
2 of them?
Mm-hmm. And it was, the whole episode was clearly a Mandalorian episode, which again, it was a really good episode, and it sucks that they just shoehorned it into Book of Boba Fett. Like, why though?
And like, fine, if you're going to include something included as part of the episode, how do you not have the character that the show is named out of in an entire, like, how has he gone from an entire episode? I don't understand. I thought
he was going to pop up somewhere, or like that particular episode would lead into Boba Fett, and it didn't. And I was like, because the episode was so good, because it's Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. And I was like, that was a really good episode, but hey, wait a minute. Like, what did that have to do with what's happening right now? Because it was so good.
We were also distracted by Luke and Ahsoka reuniting and Grogu hijacking and complaining and bitching about the Power Rangers and the guy that did the flip that I fucking love. That is the
I forgot about the flip.
Weird enough.
People lost their mind about that.
I love
People were
flip.
so fucking weird about that. It was bizarre.
Nobody can be, as JJ says, nobody can be fucking normal about Star Wars, like, ever. It has to be like, let's ignore all of the major issues. Let's talk about bricks and screws instead, and fire in space. Like, hello, hi.
So, I feel like that was actually the point in the Star Wars discourse where I was just like,
it's over.
We're so far past. We're so far past the Rubicon. I don't even know where to go from here.
How do we fandom?
Like, I remember waking up that morning thinking, like, somebody's mad about bricks. Like, I was legitimately confused, and then I was like reading comments, and I was like, oh, it's him again. Got it. Okay. And then I watched clips from it, and I'm like, this guy is brain dead. Like, legitimately, there's nothing upstairs. Like, he's just making stuff to make people mad because he's pissed off he didn't get put in Star Wars, and he's mad his little fan films don't do great. Like, that's what it is.
I don't have proper commentary. There's not enough going on here to have actual proper commentary and critiques of shows like we were saying with Andor, the issues that it has. The fact that the three white male characters end up being like the stars of the show with their like manifestos and their speeches, like Luthen and Nemec end up being like the three people that like
and Kino
fandom goes crazy about it.
And
like,
Kino, yeah.
It's casting
and Luthen.
And Luthen as well, yeah. And like these are like actual issues that you can actually like talk about and be angry about, but you can't like there isn't enough here to like talk about these issues, so you have to like talk about
brain cells fighting for the third spot.
all of them collectively share them.
Because he's so bullied, JJ. He's so bullied all the time. Everybody tells me to go off myself. And blah. Oh my god, he's a professional victim. He's so annoying.
I've been here for 10 years. I'm very oppressed.
So oppressed.
I have 3 million followers. Everybody bullies me. Shut up. Like, stop talking, please.
Oh my god, y'all!
I wish they would bully you off the internet. God.
First of all, can I just say that I'm gonna be honest. Like, I feel like the time that was like the age of like Star Wars theory was like before, like during that time when I was like taking a break from Star Wars like bullshit online. So, like, I never even saw this, like, good version of Star Wars theory.
It did exist. It did exist, because I used to follow him, and it did exist. It was very brief.
I was introduced
It was
to
real brief.
Patty's video calling him up for some bullshit during Kenobi, I think.
It was incredible.
That was my introduction.
Sorry, that was one of my most favorite videos of the year. Where you're like, I'm pulling every receipt a note.
So you guys have probably, I messaged Kari earlier, but so I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing with him trying to sue Wikipedia, or he's claiming he's going to sue Wikipedia. I only just caught up to that before I got on this, and I was like, what is happening? Because I have a friend who works for Fandom. And so he was posting on Facebook, and that's how I learned about it. Like, he didn't even know anything about Ki-Adi Mundi, and he was like, literally in real time on his podcast, was like, I'm going to go on Wikipedia, and then was like, wait, they changed it. And then he had to go back on, what is it? What's the website where you can go back and look? I can't remember what it's called. But you can like go back and look.
Wayback Machine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wayback Machine. And he literally did that on his podcast. It was like, see, they changed it. Duh. You dipwad. Because it literally just happened on the show. So of course they're going to change it in canon. And the only one that existed before was Legends. And it said as such on there. And I know so because I was going to make a hate video about Ki-Adi-Mundi a couple months back, and I was like reading up on him to like make sure I got all my stuff right.
The only sorry.
No, Nick, a codename Fulcrum and I were talking about it earlier too, and he was looking up stuff too. That's what it is he was trying to look it up in real time and realized he was wrong, but then was like, oh, everybody should go to Wikipedia and fix it. Yep. So basically what he did was he sent his minions to go threaten these people. Like literally they sent them death threats, and like people who work there, and they work there for free, by the way. Like it's a nonprofit, and vandalize it is what they were doing. And then he turned himself into the victim, and that's what this has all become. He's always making himself the professional victim, and how everybody should suck it up because he had to deal with it because he was bullied. And I'm like, hey man, I literally was beaten so badly my mom almost homeschooled me, and I don't bully other people. Maybe get some help. Like, why are you like this?
This is what you talk about with your therapist.
Yeah,
like
this is not our problem.
This is the stuff you with a professional.
But all of this, fandom being in shambles over a literal dickhead character.
Literally
a dickhead character.
Nobody cares about this person.
The only thing I've ever heard about Ki-Adi-Mundi online was how much people hated him.
I hate him.
Never been a good word
I've always hated
him. Ever. And now they're all going to bat for his birthday.
Because that's the only thing they can grasp onto. Like, see, they're putting everything up. Like, it's they're freaking like frothing at the mouth to like make everything break lore, and it's
and try to be intelligent about it.
And I was trying to explain to my husband like earlier too. Like it's more than just silly Star Wars drama. Okay, it's not just like, oh, Ki-Adi-Mundi this, Ki-Adi-Mundi that, or like bricks and screws. It is their way of doing dog whistles and like all these other things to talk about. I'm trying to use my words appropriately so we don't get like this taken down. You know what I'm saying? It's recruitment, and it is dog whistly, and it is bigger than just silly Star Wars drama. And talking about it is so frustrating because, as JJ said earlier, it's almost impossible to have any kind of conversations without inviting those pieces of crap into our environments, which my block list is long. And sometimes I'm in the mood and I'm like, yeah, you picked the right one today. Let's go. And sometimes I'm like, listen, my spoons are depleted. I'm going to block you because it's not worth it because you're not going to listen anyway. It's really disappointing because the way that I grew up, and I know this is from a white person perspective, right? I grew up watching Star Wars as like the good guys fight against the bad guys, plain and simple, right? And I feel like these people never learned that lesson. No. And as you guys were pointing out earlier too, like, of course it's by construct, right? Because white people have created this show, and I understand that. But it's so frustrating because I want it to be for everyone, except them. Except the people that suck.
Yeah. Yeah, and you bring up a good point as well, and I mean, we've already talked about this and touched upon it, but like the creators as well are predominantly white and white men, and you can see that reflected in the content, and that's where like Nat was saying that they're giving them ammo, they're giving them things to continue with their hatred and their bigotry. And until we get more diversity behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes, and the studios actually protecting them, things are never going to change. Like they're going to continue the recruitment and the dog whistling and the hating on bricks and screws and all of that bigotry and hatred, and sending hate to people who are actually trying to engage with these stories in a constructive manner, because they do feel like they have ownership, or not ownership, what's the word?
Ownership is a good word.
Like it feels like exactly ownership over Star Wars and over these stories, and like that they have to be the focus of it all the time. And unfortunately, like that's been reinforced so much over the years that like Star Wars is for them, to the point where today they're saying Star Wars is for white men, and now they're sidelining us. And it's like, it has never just been for, we have all been there since the beginning. It's just that the fandom has not made it safe enough for people like us to want to engage. And now that we're trying to engage and be in it, they feel threatened because they can't actually engage with the content the way that we can, and they get mad at it. And that's the other thing too, is like it's become part of their personality. Like it's like a core part of their personality. So even if like I talk about how like the Tuscans, and this has happened on Twitter, where I talk about how the Tuscans are North African coded and the way that they portray them is kind of racist, people are like, no, it's not my Star Wars. It's never in my Star Wars. And it's like, that shouldn't affect your enjoyment of Star Wars. It should just bring awareness to you of like, oh, actually that's kind of a little bit yucky. Like you were saying, Christina, like that's not really great. Maybe, then we can ask more from the creators once we're aware of the issues. And again, we need to have diversity both on screen and behind the scenes, like driving these changes and creating these stories. And it's never going to get rid of that toxic side of the fandom. Unfortunately, they're always going to be there. Yeah. But like, yeah, I don't even know what to continue saying.
Well, we have intimacy coordinators for things. Why don't we have, and I know some projects do, they have people on there that do cultural. Yeah. Like, I don't understand why we don't have more of that. And I'm hoping that some of these projects listen better. And I know some do. They're trying to get better. We're not quite, it's not perfect. But I know some people are trying. It's like, how about you have, if you're going to write a story about, if you're going to make Black Panther, for instance, please have African voices in there. Like, that's duh. That just makes sense. If you're going to write something like Black Widow, I'm going to use Marvel obviously as an instance, you better have a bunch of women in there. Yeah. Like, that's, don't a bunch of men write it.
Yeah. You know what I would really love to see from a Black Panther movie at some point? Where the villain is a white person. I would really like to see that at some point from a Black Panther movie. Like, when is
there's your diversity?
Can we also have Namor come back? Like, for...
I at this point actually refuse to accept that she's dead. Like, I think that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, unreal.
I remember when I was trying to like continue with or how to wrap up
Dr. Doom.
But part of the reason that they don't like people commenting on Star Wars and critiquing is because they want to also be able to use cultures the way that Star Wars has used cultures in the past without having to actually like acknowledge the people that these cultures come from. that's really part. And then when you talk about like, oh, well, this is how they've appropriated or whatever, and it's like, oh, no, that's not what they did with Star Wars. It was just like inspirational. It's like, yeah, but that's still not okay. Like, you have to include people in that, and they don't want to have to do that work in their own lives. They want to just be able to like go and wear whatever costume for Halloween without it being like, oh, well, that's actually kind of culturally insensitive. They don't want to think about that stuff. They want to just be able to go and
enjoy their silly little show.
Exactly, and enjoy their silly little show without having to think about how they are actively contributing to bigotry and hatred in the world against minorities and other cultures.
Well, that's why it upsets me about George Lucas too, because mostly the prequels, okay? Because there's a lot in the prequels that's icky, okay?
Prequels, but they're problematic as hell.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure he didn't mean to be gross, but he was because he was unaware. Right. And this is also why these creators need to have people around them to be like, hey man, maybe making them have stereotypical gross like Asian accents is maybe not a good idea. Like, maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's not have Jar Jar have a Jamaican-ish accent. Like, maybe let's not do that because it's
Ahmed Best doesn't have one. Why do that? Just use the actor's voice.
Literally, why? Why?
They got rid of that in Acolyte, but it's also one of the reasons.
They did. Yes, I noticed that.
They got rid of the accent.
That's what
you can never get me to hate Jar Jar Binks ever.
Like,
I was like waiting to hear how they would speak as soon as I saw that there was going to be pray for.
And that's the problem I'm having watching Acolyte. Okay, like, I want to be able to watch it and just enjoy it, and I can't because you want to know why? Because I'm a Star Wars creator. So all I hear is trolls in my head before I even open my app. While I'm watching the episode, where I'm like, oh, F me. Like, this is going to be real fun tomorrow. Oh yeah.
Can I just say, like, so every week when Acolyte drops on Tuesday night, I actually watch it with a group of my friends, like in real life. Like, we get together and like watch it as a group, and it's like so fun, and we can talk about theories and stuff afterwards, and it's such a good time. And they have such a different experience than me because, like, they're not like part of the fandom. They're like not.
They can actually
know
enjoy
about
it.
any of this shit. They don't care. Like, they don't engage with any of this. So like, I feel like
What's that
I'm
like?
always like the person.
I know.
I would experience joy.
They're just so happy.
Joy.
And
What is
Joy
I'm
without a
I'm
cloud.
constantly thinking about, like, I know that at the end of this conversation, when I get home and I open up my apps, it is going to be a fucking nightmare.
Where's that? I'm not Abba Troy walking into the fire on Community.
Yes.
That's exactly the meme.
So I'm happy with it.
And I'm like, I
That's
want to be like you guys too. How can I be like you guys?
I mean, delete the internet for one thing, but like it's
with Ahsoka was the only time that we felt that joy.
We had so much peace
God.
in Ahsoka. My God, what a time.
Yeah.
But yes, I also wanted to say before I go, because I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time in case anybody else wants to hop in, because I don't know if anybody else has been requesting to come in. I don't want to like take up
Young
their
was
spot.
saying she wanted to come in, but she can't request because she's under. I think we have to invite her.
Oh,
But she can come on. She's live with her.
Yeah, I will invite you.
So I will wait. Do you have to invite? Okay, yeah, I will. So she can come in.
Take your time, please.
Yeah, take
I
your
also
time.
wanted to say that, like, as a white person who grew up in a really conservative family that also grew up believing certain things that I'm ashamed of now, as we were saying at the beginning of the conversation, you have to feel discomfort to grow. And if we can't have difficult conversations, then nobody can grow. And because of people like you are the reasons that I am a different person now today. And I've always taken that to heart, and I try really hard to advocate when I can. I also don't like talking over people, so I maybe don't do it as much as I should. But I definitely want to uplift other people's voices, and I definitely think these conversations are so important. Mm-hmm. And also, I trust you guys to put me in my place if I say something messed up, or if I do something wrong, please do, because you're my friends, and I trust you guys. And I know Dawn, my friend, my bestie's in here in the chat, and so she would definitely call me on it.
We love you, Dawn.
But like, and JJ knows too, because like as white creators, like we have people might listen to us more, unfortunately, than they might listen to other people in this chat, and that's not okay. But we also have to use our voice to be as loud as we can. But I love you guys, and
You gotta be rude.
you have to, and like that's why I've become so confrontational the older I get. Now that I'm like I'm gonna be 41 in August, so I'm like, come on, man.
No, seriously, it's you can't kill them with kindness anymore.
No.
You just gotta
No.
I also don't have the spoons to do it. Like, I just don't. I would rather be a jerk to you than anything else, because you're not going to understand any other language I speak other than go F yourself. Because most of these conversations are not in good faith.
They're not.
Right.
Like they have to feel it, like that they're not welcome in our spaces. And even
Absolutely.
if they still keep coming in. No, I'm done. Like I'm not gonna try to you can't change their minds. You can't like bring them in. You can't call them whatever it is.
No.
Right? They don't care. They're just here to hate, and they're listening to the likes of
Get out.
that.
Right.
You know who, and all of that. They're not gonna like actually engage with us in good faith. So just like put them in their place, kick them out, tell them like make sure that they don't feel welcome, and just that's it.
And I want to say there's been a handful of times I have had people like respond shockingly, rationally, and I'm always like those shock me more than like the really messed up comments, because it's rare now. And I will say, whatever it is that I'm doing in my approach, sometimes I think does sometimes get through to people, because I've had people privately message me, and that makes me feel pretty good, because it means that I'm doing something right. I don't know. I just, if anyone's watching this and if you're thinking about making content, or if you already do make content, but you're not sure whether you should engage these people, please do it. Like it can be a lot, especially if your mental health is not in a great place, because these people are awful sometimes, but we have to, because if we don't, they're only going to get louder, and that's not okay. But I love you guys, and I'm gonna let Young come in. I don't know how to get out of here. How do I get out of here? I don't know.
The X on the top?
I think I
kick
can
me out.
you out. I think I can kick you out.
I love you guys.
It's gonna be a different word. Bye. We love you.
Okay. All right.
That was hilarious.
All right. Perfect. All
We
right.
are so technologically illiterate. This is hilarious. And we
Oh
make
my God.
How many people does it take?
Please.
The fact that we have so
Discourse?
many people
What is she?
on
I don't
here
know.
like dealing with this technological
We don't know two things: joy and technology.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I'm trying my best to add you right now, Young.
Listen,
Wait.
I want to
you
say
just have
one
to send
thing
her a
real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Real quick, a lot of these people, we already know that they're just keyboard warriors because I'm pretty sure a lot of these people also go to Celebration and they're there very quiet.
I agree with that. I think they're there
I'm
as
pretty
well.
sure I passed a whole bunch of people that were saying some crazy shit in my comments. And
Come right here. Let's
Yep.
fucking go.
Yeah,
like,
seriously,
I'll
come
be like,
say
yo, we'll be in Celebration this year. What up? Pull up.
Yeah,
Let's go.
or create that. I started saying that in my comment section whenever people come in with just like, oh, it's trash. I'm like, okay, make your own video. Like put your face out with your own thoughts. And then they're like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, obviously.
If you see a comment thread that's more than like 2, I ain't reading all that.
I just leave like I've stopped
Make
the whole
your own
back and forth.
content
I'll give them
afterwards.
1, maybe 2 answers if I'm like really generous and if they're not being like completely like
Right.
bigoted, right? If they're like hating on the show without like the bigotry and hatred, like, or like the bigotry and like vitriol, then I'll like maybe give them like a reply or 2, and then I just like ignore them.
Or do what I
but-
do here.
Yeah.
You let them go at it. Get your
Exactly.
engagement. They're fighting, they're
Exactly.
fighting. Boom, you delete. And you watch chaos.
Love it. Love it.
Ooh, all right.
Chris Young.
Hello.
Okay, we got it work. I was like,
Hello.
am I doing
Hello.
this right?
Lovely people.
Yes.
Hi, I'm sorry.
Figuring it out.
You're here.
Sorry about that. My cats are warring.
No, you guys are good. Thank you for letting me on. A great panel, like the entire time. Just many things were said that I think needed to be said. I just wanted to like hop in, just like maybe 3 cents. Also, Sue, thank you for saying something. You didn't need to, but I appreciate that.
I saw you commenting, and so I wanted to make sure.
You are fine. I appreciate it though. So basically, it's just like thinking back on the white woman savior thing with Marva. Oh, when my friend Jamal and I, we had, not to be that guy, but when we had our podcast at the time, that was the first thing we talked about. We're just like, Marvin, we just kind of looked at each other when we were recording it, like you know what I'm talking about. And I actually remember the first time I met Tate was on the Dyad, and they had another pair of creators on. I can't remember their names. I'm terrible at names, but I remember that pair of creators, they were white, and they were talking about how they didn't really see the problem with what Marva had done. And I just looked at them and I'm like, as an adopted person, I feel like I have a lot to say about it because I consider myself not biracial and bi-ethnic because my mother is Chinese and she's the only child in her family born on U.S. soil. Culturally biracial, there we go. And then my dad is white, but because my mom grew up in a time, I think they call it like the lost generation, at least like for that children who grew up with first generation immigrants, that they became very integrated into American culture and they kind of lost their culture. While my mom did raise me as Chinese as she could, she definitely still lost a lot of that cultural identity growing up how she did. But I still maintained my cultural identity. I know that there were a lot of Asian kids, especially my age group, who felt like while they were adopted by some lovely white families, I'm sure they did have best interest at heart, they lost that cultural bit of themselves. And they obviously were not white enough because first of all, they don't look like it, but culturally they were white, but they didn't look like it, so they weren't going to be accepted there. But then if they went back to China, the Chinese people immediately knew, oh, you're not Chinese. That's what actually happened to me. Like, we went back to China when I was like 9. I had a miserable time there. It was also Hong Kong in the middle of like June. Miserable. It was so hot. But it was just like, they knew. Even though like when I was with my dad, they obviously knew that I was not Chinese. And so just bring that all back to Casa. Again, the fact that his name was changed. Why was it changed? Casa isn't hard to say. Like,
yeah.
that one was interesting. And I, like you guys said, we lost Cassian's story because he does say in Rogue One, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. That boy, when he was taken, looked to be around 12.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that story. Why was it just children?
Yeah.
Like what? And I feel like we got maybe a little bit of an answer or potential explanation from Catalyst, because the Empire would devastate worlds for greedy corporations, and a lot of, and to mirror what we were seeing in the real world, a lot of indigenous cultures are the ones that are the first ones to suffer. That is what has happened to Cass's family, I guess you could say. So it's just like, can we have more of that, please? And thank you. And then the other thing with when Nat, when you pointed out them essentially the whole lynch scene, and maybe they didn't do it consciously. One of the things I've always had a mantra of when it comes to just writing anything fiction is that we are limited by what we know. And on an unconscious level, that's what the writers knew. Again, it wasn't overt to them, it's just what they knew growing up here in the States. Like most of the writers, Tin Buck says, they're all from the States. And as deplorable as it is, that is our history, and that is, we know on a subconscious level historically what has happened to Black people in this country, and that has infiltrated how they write characters who just happen to be Black. And it's unfortunate, and that's why it drives me nuts. And feels like, I don't know if this is what diversity shit is about. It's like, that's why, because as Sue has mentioned multiple times, her lived experience is so different. And having those lived experiences, while maybe some of the changes are subtle, they're impactful enough when it comes through media. There goes the phone, sorry. Oh, that was bad. I'm so sorry. And scene. Anyway, those are like my two things. And then also just engaging with the fandom menace. It's like, you can't half the time, but then it's also, you need to find the balance of like calling these, can't cuss that too much, else we're gonna get banned. That can be so much worse. Just enter in all expletives you want, because people think I'm a nice person. I'm actually really not. I'm kind of a dick. Anyway, add in the expletives, but trying to engage us.
Everybody should be a bigger dick than they are.
Everyone needs to be a bigger asshole. Everyone.
We really do.
Be louder, be a dick.
Well, like I always say, it's like, I'm sorry, Michelle, I can't go high. I go low as low. Like, there are other people who can go high. I go low. I go dirty. I'll pull the feet out from under them.
I'm too petty for that shit.
But it's just like,
quote from Parks and Rec with Tom. He's like, everyone says you take the high road. No, I stay on the low road when there's nobody.
I've never seen Parks and Rec, but I've heard of that quote. And I'm like, it's true, because that's all these people understand.
Yeah.
So I feel like having
What would Chopper do?
What would Chopper do?
Literally cuss you out in war crime, you little bit.
Basically, while threatening to take out your kneecaps and potentially your ancestors. Anyway, those
of Star Wars.
Yes. Anyway, those are my 3 cents. I appreciate you letting me like blah all that out. Oh, sorry, back to the Cassian thing. Sorry, the hamster was going with the name change. I am grateful that, again, because I was adopted into a Chinese family essentially, or like half Chinese family, I was still able to keep a cultural name. Hated it when I was younger because people made so many fucking jokes to the point where just like, if I had $1 for every time someone said, "Is your name Young because you're young?" I'd be rich. I'd be so rich I could potentially buy Disney. Okay, but like, I still was able to keep a cultural name, and it's just, that was significant to me. So like seeing Cass's story and that change was just anyway. 2 cents. Thank you. Appreciate you guys so much.
Beautiful. and that's why we need diversity both in the writers' room and in the fandom, because like in the writers' room, if they had diversity, they wouldn't have done that storyline that way. They wouldn't have had the Black man being hung. They wouldn't have killed off the Black characters that way, because they would have had somebody in the room being like, oh, hey, actually, this isn't okay. And then on the other side of it, because there wasn't diversity in the writer's room, having people with experiences like yours and also Danielle coming from a Latino background being like, hey, actually, what Marva did isn't all that good. Like, yes, she saved his life, but she also stole him from his family. And that's the thing, is like, we need these diverse perspectives and people with these lived experiences who can be like, oh, hey, actually, here's why this entirely okay, or here's a different perspective on this thing, and we have to be willing to listen and learn and understand that perspective, because we haven't gone through it, so we can't, like, we our perspective and our opinions on that story does not matter, because we don't have the context and the lived experience to talk about it. And then we should be listening to people who do, so we can actually learn from each other, and then moving forward we can then be aware of these things happening and have these conversations in a better way. And hopefully, you know, if there is going to be diversity on the actual in the writing room and behind the scenes as well, it'll prevent that sort of thing from happening. Like with The Acolyte, one of the lines that Mother Anastasia says, where she says, the galaxy's not welcoming to women like us. It's like, you know, there was women in the writers' room, like there were women in the writers' room.
There's an intention behind that.
Exactly.
You know? Yes.
And we wouldn't have gotten a line like that had there not been women in the writers' room. Like that's the difference.
And even, sorry, just like really quick, even kind of talking about like the Black women being in the writer's room, you know, I also think about that. I think it's the first episode when Osha is on that the transport, the prison transport or whatever, the prisoner transport.
Oh, yeah.
And I cannot stop talking about the moment in which, you know, she, as this young Black woman, has the opportunity to just get in a shuttle and just like leave and save herself. And she stopped. She looked at this person that was like still trapped on this shuttle, this man, and like she took the time to like take the like thing off his face and like save him, with the intention of, we're both getting off of this ship together. And this man literally was just like, nope, like suicide, no reason to even do this, right? Like, but like push you aside, I'm gonna get on this shuttle and like save myself. And like, to me, that felt like such a, there was like an intention with that being like a Black woman that does this, and for it to be a white man that is like the person that does this to her. And like, this is like, these are the kinds of character moments that we get when we have a diverse writer's room that's intentional and like understands the context of what it means to have certain characters in relationship together in scenes, and like ways to navigate them that actually like connect to like real world experiences. And it's so important to have that. And because we don't typically get that in Star Wars, we miss these story points, or we get story points again that are just very, you know, not just blind to these sort of things. And last thing I'll say, and like JJ, I know that you have some, you know, something wanting to say, is like, just going really quickly back to Andor, a moment that like Andor had so much of a weird relationship to like Cassian's story. And like, I think that his relationship with Marva, the fact that like we didn't really get to see what could have been a really powerful relationship between him as this like immigrant kid with his like Black father, we never got to see that represented on screen anywhere at all. And I think that actually could have been incredibly powerful. We didn't even get it in flashbacks, nothing. Like, it was just like,
other than just him dying.
We got that small scene of him fixing something. That's it.
Yeah, it's a small scene, just very inconsequential. And, you know, there were so many moments, again, like we talked about, like how the story is like so driven by like white men and like all of the things that they do in the story. And when you think about like all of like the big moments that we experience throughout the course of Andor, they all belong to the white men of the story. Every single one of them. Every one of them. I couldn't believe it. The only thing that didn't belong to like a white man was Marva,
a white
woman who stole some child. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Again, like I don't believe that these things are intentional. I think Young, a lot of like what you're saying, like totally resonates. Like if there is like a subconscious thing that is happening when you are writing these stories that exist, even if you don't even understand that you're doing it. You're writing these stories in a way in which it is through the lens in which you have experienced the world. And like, if you are seeing Black bodies as disposable, if you are just seeing like immigrant, like Latino people as like not having any agency or control over their lives, like if that is the way that you are seeing the lens of the world through like your experience, that is going to come out in the stories that you write. And it is why it is important we need to have these like writers' rooms. Like have like a level of diversity. But yes, anyway.
That's why it's so hard for a lot of audiences to even connect dots within the story itself. Like if you have a episode after episode, you're disposing of Black bodies. What message are you sending out to the general audience?
Correct.
The visual that you're representing to them. Even subconsciously, it's gonna crawl in here, and at some point it will come out externally. Because at that point, you're dehumanizing people. They're being just disposed of, being used as a background character. Yeah. And like, even if you do everything right, even if you have the perfect writer's room, and this is the issue that I have a lot with the fandom, it's still gonna go over the head. Yeah. It's gonna go over the head because we are not engaging with the story in any sort of meaningful way. Especially now, like, because we want to be so positive. We want to like, oh, the story is very good, really good. Da, 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 da. I'm like, how are you engaging with the material that's presented to you? Like maybe even call out certain things. Andor, perfect example. We love Andor, but is it problematic? Yes, it is. Yeah. Book of Boba Fett, have I enjoyed it? For the most part, because I love Boba Fett as a character, yes, but it's problematic as hell. Do you know what I mean? Like, even with Kenobi, I have certain issues with it. But again, for the most part, it's a fairly good TV show. The sequel trilogy, they centered a white woman, to be the lead of the series. Who did they hire to direct her and write her? 2 white men. Yeah. I love Rian Johnson. He does not belong in that writer's room. I don't love J.J. He should not be writing Rey Skywalker's story. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yep. Story of my life. I apologize for that. Sorry.
It's all true. It's all true.
But like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why was Rey movie being made by 2 white dudes? Yeah. And the end result, at least Johnson tried to salvage it. Agree. Somewhat in The Last Jedi, which is why I connect with that movie, because it was a course correction to what J.J. Abrams was doing with Rey. And then we know what happened with The Rise of Skywalker. And I'm not going to be gaslit into bullshit anymore. A movie that essentially introduced 2 female characters to make sure that the audience doesn't see Poe and Finn and maybe as gay. They weren't even doing anything. Like the fandom sort of like wrote its own fan fiction. But God forbid, Disney signals some queer romance between the 2 characters that had a lot of chemistry. Here are 2 beards. That's essentially what they were, disposable. Rose, don't get me started on that. I am so mad. I am still to this day mad. I'm not letting go of it. I'm not going to let go.
And you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
I'm going to be subtweeted by positive fandom. Oh, Star Wars good. Oh, fuck right off. No, put the right people in the directorship. And also one more thing: whenever you have a show, and I complain about not enough female writers in a writers' room. What about Deborah Chow? What about what's the other one? Bryce Dallas Howard. They are directing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Be real.
Yes.
Just because there's a woman on the
what
team
matters.
doesn't mean
Dialogue, how women talk to each other.
That's what I need to know. That's where my interest is. I don't give a shit what Dave Filoni is doing. Who is he hiring
Yeah.
at the writer's table?
When is Dave Filoni going to say something, by the way? When is Dave Filoni going to say something?
Never.
Silent.
He has no reason to.
Corporations, corporate ghouls who like want to follow all of these small creators and trap them into like positive content. I'm sorry. I see a trend happening. I'm gonna call it out. You get followed by Star Wars account, the admin, some intern that's paid $2 an hour, and all of a sudden the content changes. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing that pisses me off about that as well, and like we've chatted about this privately, is like they use that for free marketing and engagement. And like we as creators who are doing all of this work, who are, providing them with all this free marketing and advertising, we're not getting any money out of it. I mean, now they're sending stickers, but usually it's just like, oh, you got to follow. And it's like, oh my God, Star Wars. Like, this is again, I said this before, this is a corporation in a capitalist society. They don't care about us. They just care about how to exploit us without having to pay money.
Go
And speaking about how we need women writers, more women, we finally get one with the Acolyte, and the fucking studio is fucking putting blocks on the writing, on the storytelling. That's insane. It's crazy. And then just real quick, I want to go back to something about Andor that Young spoke about with the name thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not just for Latino, but basically the immigrant experience. Especially back in like the Great Migration, back in like the 50s and the 40s and stuff like that. You know that people came here, and because of the racism and everything, they wanted to be accepted and adapt. Mm-hmm. That name change thing is a big deal.
Yeah.
You understand? Because they would change their names so they could be, assimilate into the culture, into the American culture. So they wouldn't be singled out as much. Casts are changing. That's a valid reason, because you know what, you need to protect yourself. Again, they were here being mistreated, so they were doing whatever they could. Telling their kids don't speak Spanish. You just need to learn English. No. They didn't want to teach their kids Spanish or whatever other language from their motherland, because you know what, you need to assimilate. You need to speak English without an accent so that you don't get singled out. That's valid. That's a valid reason. In the show, we get this name change for Cassian from Casa. Why?
Why?
Always the question.
There's no explanation.
Yeah, there was no explanation, because you can't say that she changed it in case somebody knew that he was from that planet. Who was gonna?
She changed the planet. She didn't change the name. Like they addressed the planet change. Like it's like, oh no, this is where you were born, not your own home.
I just want to reiterate that there was no reason for her to change his name, because it's not like she was trying to assimilate him to some other place. It's aliens. There's different, all types of freaking aliens in every planet. So that was not a reason.
In context, correct.
Yeah, in context, exactly. There was no reason. Like it wasn't for protection. It wasn't for. So that, I think. And Young, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't catch that until right now that you said it. And the reason why that just became very important to me is because, my two kids, they're second generation Colombian, right? I'm first generation. And it's very hard to keep the culture going after, first generation and stuff. I gave my kids, Latino names, Colombian names, because I wanted to make sure that they maintain some type of, thing with their culture and stuff. So that is very important to me, the whole new thing and stuff. So Young, thank you for pointing that out. I just wanted to bring that back. And just say this to maybe people in the chat that don't know about that may not know the history with immigrants in the story, why they had to, learn just English and they forgot about, Spanish or whatever language that they don't know about their culture and stuff. Sometimes it was because of a necessity, because of the racism that they were facing.
Out of protection, which is so unfortunate. It's like you have to put on, for lack of a way to say it, this white mask to make sure that you are protected, which is very unfortunate, because a lot of us, we can't put on that white mask. I can sound as American as I want to, because I apparently have a southern drawl sometimes. but people take one look at me and it's just like they assume certain things, and I'm like, no, I'm pretty Americanized. I'm pretty whitewashed, y'all. Hey.
I had a rough immigrant experience growing up in here. Like me, I can't imagine. Do you know what I mean? Like me, like if I had a rough time in high school because I didn't speak English very well, a lot of the people that came here changed their last name, adjusted it so that Americans can pronounce it. Same with me. Yeah, that's just for them. I have a name.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful name.
I think it's nice, but people can't say it. So, and I don't want to share.
It's not a hard name, though. Like, you said it to me, and I know what it is, and it's not a hard name. Like, what the fuck?
You'd be surprised. And I've been trying. Like, I regret shrinking it for years. This isn't now for TikTok since high school.
Yeah, I know.
That's and me as a typical white woman, I can't imagine other immigrant experiences. Do you know what? Like it just kind of like makes you put on different thinking cap. Like, kind of opens your mind a little bit broadly. Like, if you with all the privilege that you have, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And like, I still can't get past and shall never get past the Andor panel at Star Wars Celebration.
I'm waiting.
Where Tony Gilroy
had
the absolute fucking audacity.
You know exactly what you're gonna say.
I've got him ready. I know
to get into like a whole discussion about like why he had to explain Cassian's accent. Yeah. I was like, what in the
I beg your finest pardon.
Wait, that was actually said.
I was sitting beside.
Gilroy got on that stage, right in front of freaking
Diego
Luna.
I
was
remember
on
the
stage
quote.
with
I
him.
have the audio. I remember the quote. He's like, well, the first problem I had was how to explain his accent, like talking about Diego Luna.
Behind him. Diego Luna behind him.
Who chose to keep his accent in Rogue One.
Correct.
Like,
yes, which was so amazing.
Exactly. And he's like, well, that's the first issue. First problem I had is how to explain his accent. And so then he created this whole backstory in order to explain his accent. When there's other accents, there's so many accents in Star Wars, and none of it is.
Why do we never have to explain the British accents? Why
do we never have to explain the racist
accents
that they put in? Like the Trade Federation.
Why does Ray have British
accents? On the slave masters.
I was like that.
I was sitting beside two Latinas, and like the way the energy just like I could tell that was an out of pocket statement, but the way that the two of them reacted, I was like, oh, this is so much worse than even I know how it is. Like I think it was, I forget anyways, but anyways, yeah, I was sitting beside two Latinas, and like they were visibly, like physically shaken by that comment, and I was like, oh, that's bad. Like. Oh.
I felt so
not good.
I felt so like embarrassed as a fan of the show. Like I felt embarrassed.
Yes.
I was like,
yes, like they do so much good, and this, like get some PR training.
Literally.
And Diego's sitting right beside him too. Like,
all right, I'm letting another person in.
Oh yeah, to kick me out. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to get out of this again. I think it's also because I don't have enough followers, so I can't like actually do anything. So kick me out. I love you guys so much. Thank you again for this space and allowing me to come in. I genuinely appreciate it. Take care of yourselves. Please take care of yourselves.
You too, honey.
Yeah. Bye. Kick me out.
I love it. Okay, I'm letting one more person in, and then I think maybe wrap up if that feels okay.
I think Dawn was asking. I don't know if she.
I think Dawn was.
Oh wait, who was?
Oh, Dawn, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I saw that.
In that room.
Where's she?
Yeah, there we go. Hi, Dawn. Hi.
Hey. Okay.
Hello.
I have thoughts.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So, okay, wait. God, you guys have talked about so many things. I'm like, yeah. And now I'm like freaking forgetting what the hell I wanted to talk to you about. All right. Okay, my first thing was I would, as someone that has been a fan of Star Wars for a while, like, not as hardcore as y'all, you know, because, you know, Marvel's my thing, but I would love when the day comes where I can watch Star Wars and not count how many black people I see subconsciously.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I cannot watch any fantasy or sci-fi that I enjoy without subconsciously counting the black faces.
Yep.
And that is a direct, like, cause of, like, all the shit you guys have been talking about. How it's like there's not enough people of color behind the scenes putting us in these spots, you know, putting us in the front, not in the freaking background, you know. And, you know, I have a friend that was background in Kenobi, and I love her, and you guys know her, but she was in the fucking background, you know, and she's an actress. She's not like what I used to do. I used to do background for TV shows and movies. Like, I'm not talented, I'm not an actress, but she is, and she was put in the background, you know? That is such a problem. And with that being said, when it comes to putting people behind the scenes in positions of power where they can, like, put more black women in prominent spots, we're not gonna get fucking killed off, which is, like, my biggest fucking issue with, as much as I have been enjoying The Acolyte, I'm so fucking pissed about Mother.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love her.
She's alive, damn it.
I'm not convinced she's dead, but, like, yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, we always have to die.
Yeah.
All the fucking time. Like, I think Jana is, like, the exception recently.
You're right.
And we haven't heard shit from her.
Oh, Reva. She's alive.
Reva.
She survived.
Oh, yeah,
She's
Reba.
alive.
That's the other one, right? Okay, well, two's better than one, but still.
But we want those stories, Jana's stories. Give me Reva's story now. Choose
Yeah,
one.
right.
where the fuck are they?
Right, I would love to see Reva's story. Hell, I would love to see even Jana's story. Like, the whole Lando Jana thing. Like,
100%.
I want to see that. That's like, they literally have something there. They could do something with them. They're just not.
Yeah, agreed.
But my concern about having people, like, even if they do have, like, writers of color or, you know, black writers or black directors or whatever, my concern, and it's a valid concern, is that what if, you know, people can be all, like, hyped because there's, like, a black director or a black writer or whatever on the script, but that doesn't mean that they're here for the black people, right? Especially if they're trying to please a bunch of white people. They're not gonna, like, think about what's best for black folks. Like, I know, like, Christina brought up the whole, she was surprised about the Tusken Raiders, which still bothers the hell out of me too. She was surprised that Robert Rodriguez let that happen under him. And I'm like, do you know if he's for the Hispanics? Do you know if he's for the indigenous? Like, just because he's a person of color and he's Latino doesn't mean he's for them. Yeah. And I've seen that, like, look at freaking Candace Owens. She's not for us. Mm-hmm. That's a prime example right there. And so it's kind of like, it's one of those things, like, we just can't throw somebody in there and be happy that they're in there. We have to make sure that they're there for the people that they represent, being that ethnicity. You know, we don't want to just throw somebody in there just for the sake of, like, saying, oh, well, there's a PLC writer, there's a PLC director, let's just be happy with it, cool, let's hype it up, you know, like, I feel like that is, like, the biggest concern, you know, and I keep, like, the whole, the Robert Rodriguez thing, like, that's kind of an example where I'm just like, dude, like, where's your head at? Like, to let that happen, to not say something.
Embarrassing.
Right.
Yep.
So now
he's actually a director that's, like, really powerful and, like, has worked with a lot of important people in Hollywood and has a voice and, like, could be like, hey, I don't want to do the story this way. Or at the very least, if somehow the story got out of his hands and Disney was, like, pushing, like, listen, this is the story we want to tell and this is what you're going to write, you got a voice outside of that, right? Like, you could be like, hey, this was the idea I had for the story.
Right.
This is what Disney wanted to do.
Because we see directors do that all the time. Look at freaking the Snyder Cut.
Literally.
Acolyte writers as
Acolyte is
well.
the biggest example right now. The corporate ghouls in a committee literally undermining the story. And you can tell it's sliced and diced and, like, feels incomplete. Like, this is corporate interference. This is Star Wars fucking shareholders literally pointing at Lindsay and her team. Nope, cut it here, cut it here, cut it here. And everything feels disjointed.
And that last episode felt like that to me.
I hated it. Fucking hated it.
like all of a sudden, like May is like, all right, I'm done being evil. I'm gonna go hang out with my sister and turn myself in. Like what?
What?
Corey shared a theory for Justin, Freddie's roommate, had a really good theory. And first thing I thought I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do this. It's too brilliant. And I'm like, but maybe. And then fucking writer in the Twitter reply says, no, the switch was meant to happen that way. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
It was so abrupt.
Yes.
It threw me off for a good like 10 minutes after that happened. I was trying to digest it.
I paused it. Because I couldn't believe that. I thought I was watching something else. I'm like, this is a character that literally just killed Jedi. He's on a mission to kill the third Jedi. Has a conversation with Kamir, and she's done. I'm done with this.
Oh, my sister's alive. I'm good. Bye. Like, what?
And that's the thing is like they show her sister alive and she's shocked, but then they don't show the aftermath of that, and then all of a sudden she turns. You need to show the aftermath in order for her turning to make sense.
Yeah,
because it makes sense for her to turn now that she's like this big earth-shattering discovery of her sister being alive, but they don't show the aftermath of that.
Right.
And it's not like the episode didn't have time. It was the shortest episode.
It was really short.
28 minutes.
They cut it because corporate. They said that corporate said that. Dude, they cut out Kalnaka fighting the Dark Force user.
Okay, I'm real.
Unbelievable.
Wookiee fight, and they cut it.
How do you promote like? And they were going hard with this. Oh, the first Wookiee Jedi that we get to see live action, and we don't get to see him do shit.
We haven't even like wield a lightsaber yet.
Right, literally off screen.
We didn't see him do anything in that episode either. Like show him foraging, show something like that fight. If they don't want to do the reveal, if they wanted to do the like horror Mary Poppins coming down from the tree reveal, if you really wanted to do it that way, have him be in the hut doing whatever inconspicuous thing, and then all of a sudden red lightsaber flash, and then have like outside of the hut, and you're just seeing like light through the windows or whatever, like green, red, whatever, and then cut there and have like some
nuance, some type of like
have light in the episode and actually like, you know, have the story breathe and show us enough of these characters. I can't believe that's like all we've gotten of Kalnaka, and now it sort of makes sense to me because I'm like, why were they not promoting Indara or like Carrie Ann Moss? And I forget the actor who plays Kalnaka, who plays the Wookiee. I'm like, because he never actually made it to the red carpet. He was always dressed as a Wookiee. And I was like, why aren't they promoting them that much? Right?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like there's a core...
I've never seen Jedi Masters go down so quick.
Yeah. I didn't think about that with Kalnaka, but
I the Jedi power, and they're dropping like flies. Like they're
dropping like flies. I will say that I was pretty convinced, to be honest, that like Carrie Ann Moss was not long for the show. Like, because of how little she was in any, like to your point, like in any promotion. Like I caught pretty early on. I was just like, they're gonna kill her off in the first episode. Now, did I think it was gonna be literally the first scene?
No, first 5 minutes.
I thought you would make it through most of the first episode.
Yes. How do you have the goddess that is Carrie Ann Moss die off within the first 5 minutes? Like,
wild.
I understand the shock value, but goddamn. Make it Torben first.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit about that little twerp?
Right.
Trinity, goddamn. Yeah, I gotta like feel crappy about that old white boy being sad. I don't give a fuck. Give me Trinity.
Seriously, you have Trinity and like the badass moves, and I'm like, she's only
they got rid of her fast. I was like, that's crazy.
Throw her name on a poster and everything. Trinity, Matrix, Argent. We are like sad.
One fight scene, and they're like, out.
She was one of the casting choices that really made me excited about like her and obviously Manny Jacinto.
Your sister
like the Manny Jacinto. How many days that flashback of the fan club?
That flashback when we get Carrie Ann Moss better be spectacular. The flashback when we get Carrie Ann Moss better be fucking spectacular.
Exactly. She better be in more than 2 episodes this show. She can't be in only a quarter of the episodes and only like 3 scenes. Because even in the Brendock, in that episode, she was only in 2 scenes.
That's it.
When they were testing
come in,
Osha, and then when they first came in, and when she was testing Osha, we don't see her in the end. There, it was all Soul.
Yeah.
How do you Carrie Ann Moss and Jodie Turner as well? That one I understand a little bit more because but
my hope is that she plays such a huge part in what happened in Brenda.
I do agree with that.
And then that's why they're gonna, again, hopefully she's gonna be like the main thing in the flashback episode.
I hope
Christina said she was probably too expensive. I have to bring one thing up that's pissing me the fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
This show cost $168 million.
Yeah.
Money laundering at Disney.
Right.
What stuff is happening? I haven't seen a decent fucking Jedi duel on a show that's about the height of the Jedi power. When they were on the fucking Kofar looking for Kalnaka, when those little creepy ass bugs, I'm like, oh, we're cooking with fire finally. Cooking. And then like one bug tries to slow, he's like butter, and I'm like,
I'm gonna be
68 million for what?
It's the Rings of Power all over again.
Oh my god. I'm gonna be so fucking for real with you guys. I'm gonna be so fucking for real with you guys. We get to that next episode. If that episode does not open with the best fucking Jedi duel fight I have ever seen in my life, I will be kidding. I will be on Twitter in a fucking outrage.
I need to see like super jumping Jedis.
But with the light whip is I am living right now.
Yeah, they're better. We need like what we saw in the Phantom Menace. That type of Jedi we should be seeing because this is even way before that, right?
Yeah. And we should be seeing almost every. No, like I always complain about the pew pews and the whoosh whoosh and all the clack clack clack. I want that in a show about the height of the fucking Jedi.
Yes,
we haven't had Jedi since Order 66. They're getting decimated in every show I'm watching. Give me the pew pews. Give me the pew pews. Give me that. Give me 15 now.
To you on all I hold.
You know what they could have done? At least to give us a little bit, just like whatever. When this last episode at the beginning, when the Padawans were doing their training, I'm sorry, but in the High Republic books, I was telling, JJ and Sue that. In the High Republic books, the Padawans, they train with other Padawans actually fighting each other.
Lightsaber?
Yeah. And we saw that in Kenobi as well.
But they're dueling with each other, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least giving us that some acrobatic, crazy stuff that the Padawans are learning how to do.
What the fuck was that?
I'm not gonna lie, that threw me off, and I hated
with the wooden swords.
It was a whiplash, and it was like they're using. I thought it was like a flashback because I was like, why is she still training with sticks? First of all, and like, why is she at the temple right now? And like, they go from Kolnaka to this right away, and it's just like whiplash. And I'm like, this scene is just awful. Like give us something. Give us we haven't seen two lightsabers like we haven't seen
we're now halfway through the show, guys.
Like granted, that fight with Andara was a masterpiece. I loved it. Beautiful. But again, only Andara had a lightsaber, and she wasn't attacking because she's not being attacked by something like by a serious weapon. Like there was no reason for her to pull out her lightsaber until the end of that fight. But the actual physical part of that fight, brilliant, beautiful. Even the fight between May and Soul. But that's not enough. Not enough.
I have a hot take.
We're halfway through the show.
Can I share a hot take? I have a feeling if there was an epic duel in every fucking episode of this TV show, we would not be having the discourse that we're having, because that side of the fandom is so fucking stupid. They're gonna be like,
if we're asking for
time to think about hating on black women and queer women in that show, because they're gonna be like, oh, shiny, literally.
Yep.
That fucking screws and bricks in there. There is no
literally.
Just throw in some goddamn duel fights in a Jedi show. What are we doing? 160 million. Same with Bridgerton. You've got to be fucking kidding me. We're now supposed to be suckling on Star Wars.
Girl, we can have a whole conversation about Bridgerton, and if you want to do this about Bridgerton, I am there.
Thank you. I'll send you Venmos to pay you to talk to you.
Oh my god. Oh
House
my
of the
god.
Dragon is 160 million.
Oh,
Explain
now season 2 of House of, listen, season 1, lots of issues. I was not my favorite. I enjoyed it because of your commentary and you filling in the blanks, JJ. That's what made me actually enjoy and understand the story. But season 2,
So far,
Yeah, that first
so
episode.
far, I mean, we haven't gotten much, but but what we have gotten was just so refreshing, so refreshing. But yeah, like if we are asking for lightsaber duels in Acolyte because they haven't provided us with enough of that action, then yeah, of course the toxic side of the fandom are going to be hella pissed and whatever. And you're right, like the shiny, they would have
that's what
like
they consider Star Wars. That's what they
Yeah,
consider Star Wars.
exactly.
That's exactly it.
And then there was also the
They don't want to see
claim-
any of that other shit. They don't want people talking to each other. They don't care about
they
character
don't
development.
care.
They just want
See,
you
how do you get two lightsabers?
They're
Pew,
like
pew.
light sticks against each other.
They want expendables in space.
Yeah.
That's it.
And if it's not
all they want.
lightsabers, it's ships in space shooting at each other. Like that's
Michael Bay explosions.
Yeah.
exactly.
With how
With the
little
fire,
Star
but not
Wars
fire.
how little Star Wars it feels. Like I said, and I'm going to repeat it again. We were arguing over a dickhead. Jesus fucking Christ! We are on.
We're arguing over a dickhead that everybody hated up until this point, until they could use him as some rage bait nonsense.
There's nothing shiny to distract. I swear to God.
Exactly.
Put in a whole duel every episode in a show about Jedi. I think half of this conversation wouldn't be happening. Like as far as the fandom is concerned.
Yeah.
They would literally be like, this is literally nothing but potato shaving. Not even a potato. Potatoes, the shavings in here. Worthless.
And we saw this in Kenobi as well. They kept, even though there were a couple lightsaber fights in there, because it wasn't a big spectacle, they were losing their shit over that as well until they finally got the big fight in the finale. But like the one that was halfway through, between Vader and Obi-Wan, to them was not enough because like it wasn't long enough, it wasn't whatever. Kenobi's just defensive, even though it made sense. They didn't care. It was just wasn't the pew pew whatever like flashy. It wasn't flashy.
Fair.
They had more than one. They had several of like lightsaber fights between different characters all throughout Kenobi, and they still lost their goddamn minds over not enough or not good enough. And
Look
the
at
thing
every
with
fan film. Look at every fan film that they're making. It is nothing burger. Tong, 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 tong. 20 fucking minutes. It's lightsaber porn. Those are their families.
That's literally all it is.
That's why I don't watch fan films.
I don't either. But also, with the Acolyte specifically, I believe it was Daphne, don't quote me on this, either Daphne or Amanda had said that they were trying to compete with the Duel of the Fates.
Yeah.
With one of whatever fights.
Yeah,
that
who
they were
said
gonna
that? I'm sorry. Rewind.
It was a quote. I don't.
I can't remember which one of them it was,
But I remember the
you're
quote
right.
being like, "Oh yeah, we're trying to like have like the best lightsaber fight since Duel of the Fates or something like that."
Where are they?
Like a bold. This is before the show aired. This is like it's a bold.
And this is what
statement.
so like
Even though you haven't shown a single lightsaber fight so far.
No wonder the freaking fanboy, like the toxic fanboys, are so mad.
Talking about this. None of them are talking
But this
about
is what
quote.
okay,
Well,
but
they
this
did
is
back then, but go ahead.
But this is for real what I am saying though, like genuinely, like the executives at Disney and Lucasfilm are not fucking stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they know that by sending out one of their actors, especially having a black actor, like a black femme actor, go out and say a statement like, "Oh, this is gonna be like the best fight since like Duel of the Fates." You know exactly what the fuck you're doing when you're sending
You're right.
them.
Set up to fail.
You're setting them up to fail, and you're trying to stoke this like bullshit, like fucking controversy shit that like everyone's gonna be fighting over and arguing about. Like, you are stoking the fires. You know what you're doing when you're sending out.
You're doing it on purpose.
To say these things. This is not an accident. That is on purpose.
It is.
So what pisses me off is that they did that, and then they're like, "Oh, we're not going to stand for bigotry, and we're going to speak up for our people this time," and they haven't said shit.
They haven't.
That makes me so fucking mad.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what I said earlier as well. Is like they want both sides of the fandom, and they want both sides at each other, and they specifically want the toxic side running their mouths, being assholes all over the place, because it gets them viral stuff, like things going viral, and has Star Wars being at the top of people's minds because people are talking about it. It's free advertisement, even though it comes through.
It's like they just did with the boys when like the writer creator straight up said like, "Hey, by the way, like the toxic fanboys, this show's about you," you know, like, and now they're all in a fucking huff and they're talking about the boys, right? So it's very similar to that, and I kind of wish that would happen with Star Wars, to be honest with you.
And to creator and showrunner spoke up for Erin Moriarty being like attacked by incels. Like, a white blonde woman is being attacked by incels. Like, there is no bottom to be like, what the fuck? This is who they're attacking. A typical white, pretty skinny blonde woman. Like, and he's like, all of you will eat a bag of dicks. It's just fucking and I'm like, Lucasfilm could never. Could never.
Now, going into that, what Free Willy said, Amanda having to put her own response on.
On their own. They have to be the ones to address, and same thing
every time
they have to, like, every single actor has to be the one to address all of the hate and vitriol and death threats and
they're getting.
Like, as much as I love her for doing that, she should not have had to do that, because Disney should have fucking done that.
Exactly, but Disney would never. With Reva, with Moses Ingram, it was Ewan who did that, and like Lucasfilm and Disney would have never said anything. Ewan said something, and so they're like, wash their hands off of it. No more responsibility.
Captain Marvel with Brie, like they didn't defend her either, and I think it was it Mark that stuck up for her, Mark Ruffalo?
Later, but it was Don Cheadle. Was the only
that's who it was.
The time to speak up for Brie Larson.
Right.
Honestly, the Brie Larson thing, I cannot actually. To me, like, it is so crazy how, like, she can't say or do anything. She can't say anything.
Just exist.
Like, fanboys like look at this woman and are like, if you even fucking breathe on the internet, we are going to ruin your life. And like it, and like all for like nothing. I feel
for nothing. She didn't say anything wrong.
You know what it was? You know what it was? She dared to call out an actual statistic. This wasn't an anecdote. It wasn't an opinion. It was literally collected data of the reviews for the movies. It was mostly dominated by white old men, like percentage wise. So when they're reviewing movies, their biases are going to be skewed. She called that out. Ever since then, it's been relentless.
Because she's a smart woman who can defend herself.
They twisted what she said so bad, and I was like, what? She didn't say that. Like, they were like, oh, she hates white men. And I was like, where did you see that?
No, what women
facts hurt their feelings, John. Johnny's saying.
She was right to do it. Bear. Always a fucking bear. Goddamn.
Yeah, always.
Look, they defended Chris Pratt quicker than they did Elizabeth.
And they defended
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The boy white.
Don't even get me started on that. Again, we need to have a Marvel chat about this shit.
Yeah.
Oh no! I saw your comment and I was like, okay, the next one's gonna be about Marvel.
Ooh.
I got shit to say.
So do I.
Like Captain America or the new Captain America movie coming up. I got so much shit.
Don't get me started.
I am so mad about that movie.
I
have never been this angry about a movie before. I don't think.
This is in my constant face every time I see any news about that damn movie. This is perpetual.
He will have justice. I have justice for him.
Justice for Sam Wilson. Justice for Sam Wilson.
For our Captain America.
Captain America. We have.
Is it on the boycott list?
Captain America.
Yeah,
That one
BDS code
is on the boycott
because of the
list,
Sabra
yeah.
character. Until they're
I thought they wrote her out. They kept her.
They haven't said anything. They weren't.
Oh, they wrote out Harrison Ford. He's no
They
longer
wrote
in
out-
it.
yeah. Did they seriously?
Yeah,
Wait,
Harrison Ford.
she's gone?
They removed?
No, Harrison Ford. I don't think he's no longer in it.
Oh, I thought.
Wait,
I thought
Harrison
that he was
left?
still in it.
I think
I
so.
heard that too.
Wait, who did they bring in as
Johnny, where's Johnny? You were in here earlier.
I can't
I
keep
feel
up.
like that needs to be all our profile photos.
See, I can keep up with X-Men shit, but I can't keep up with, like, the other Marvel shit.
It's bad out here. the
But they did bring someone else
I'm
in
gonna be honest. The fandom situation.
Ford's still in it.
Giancarlo.
I misspoke. I thought
Giancarlo
they
in.
wrote him out. That they put a different actor in there.
Giancarlo Esposito?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I
Giancarlo,
remember being
maybe.
confused about that because I'm like,
No,
oh,
John
no.
Carlo said he's going to be in a new movie that's not come. Wait, or is he? Is
No,
it
I
this
thought
one?
he was
he's
going to be in this one, but he was talking about how he's going to be a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they said something about a spin-off about his character. Did that happen?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
You're
Ford
right.
is still
I heard
in it,
about
Johnny
that, but
saying.
he's gonna be in the Captain Marvel. I'm sorry, Captain America movie.
Captain America.
No,
Okay.
he's still in the movie.
No, Harrison Ford is still in it. Johnny confirmed.
Harrison,
And
I
they
thought
added
they
Giancarlo.
him out.
Okay, we're sorry for scaring everybody. Harrison Ford is
Misinformation.
I mean, not that it matters.
for
It's on the
spreading
boycott
it.
list.
No, exactly. Not that it matters because I will.
Yeah, this movie.
Still, BDS has it on its list.
That movie, bro.
Yeah.
It's hard out here for a pimp. I'm telling you. It's hard out had that song playing on repeat.
Oh my god.
These fandom spaces are so bad. Every single one of them. My one little fandom space that has just been so nice has been Interview with the Vampire because nobody's fucking watching that show because it's on air.
Girl, that is one of my big fandoms.
And you can,
And I've seen, there's been plenty of discourse about that show.
Really?
Honestly,
Yes.
my little corner has been quiet and like.
It's because Christopher Rice and Anne, before she passed away, completely stopped talking about and promoting that show. And Christopher will not talk about it at all. And if he addresses it because somebody's asked about it, he'll be like, you need to ask AMC. He's not happy.
not happy, like changes that they made in season 2?
Yeah, because Anne was very picky, and every time she would let somebody adapt her stuff, they would like change it, and she didn't like it, and then she would change her mind, kind of, sorta. But like, they were just executive producers. I don't think they had a lot of input on the actual script. And as a fan of those books and the original film, which she also had a problem with, the departures are so big that I can see why they are not happy.
And
it's a great show. It's really good, but it's also very inspired by.
Anne Rice is violently against literally taking her work and changing shit. Like, aggressively against fan fiction, changes.
Yes. She took out a whole ad in the paper about that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. It was crazy. Like,
So then how is she making these deals and not having...
Well,
that
she's gone
in the
now. She
contract?
passed away.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
never
bitch
mind.
is dead. And I honestly feel like that's why this show is able to happen in the way that it is happening, because she is dead. Because like I just don't think they would be doing the things with this show that they are doing if she were alive. But like I gotta be honest, as somebody who has read like almost the entirety of like the Lestat, like the vampire Lestat like books or whatever, I'm like, listen, I love those books. I enjoy them for what they are. This show is doing a way more interesting thing than anything that is like in those books. For me,
Interesting.
personally,
there's book purism everywhere. It seems.
Yeah.
but I also
Okay,
think
I might have to give...
adaptation is adaptation. You know.
Let's have a whole other
Yeah.
chat about this.
No, yeah.
Oh my
I'm gonna ask you about season 2 because there was something
I
in
can
the
talk about this
season 1
for
that I
hours.
really
Yeah, I
hated.
could too.
I don't know if they
Yeah.
did.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
We've been doing this for a long time.
I
I
know,
feel
like-
like I wanna get us to sort of like some final reflections, maybe. So like as we were thinking about like the state of the Star Wars fandom and like where we are right now, and like obviously we've talked about a lot of things that have been like a struggle, things that have been harmful, things that have been like violent experiences people have had. Like if there's like a thing that you would like somebody to take away or think about in terms of like how to move forward, like what would that be? And I think for me, like my thing is looking at the positionality of power that you have in this space, and like what are the ways that you can support creators to give voice to these things that we have talked about tonight. Like I'm looking at how many people showed up at this live, tonight, and like this is a conversation people want to have. This is a discussion that people are very interested in. And like, what are you as a person who is like a larger creator or you have a platform, what are the ways that you are using it to actually move forward this conversation in a way that actually centers the voices of people who are experiencing the most harm? Like that is the thing that I really want people to sit with. And like, it's not going to feel good. Like you're going to have to sit and think about like, fuck, what have I been doing? Maybe the answer is really nothing. And like, if that is the answer, what is the solution? What are the things that you feel that you can like do, And like really sitting in that discomfort and like thinking about that and like actually carving a path forward.
I do want to put. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I do want to put like a little bit of helpful prompts that people can use going forward. Amplify voices of color.
Yeah.
As if you're a white creator and and I hate to say this, but you're at the top of the food chain, you need to amplify your friends and other creators that are people of color and their voices and support them. Yeah. If you see their videos, like it, comment it, retweet it or whatever, like reshare it, stitch them or duet or whatever, like to add your voice to it. Because a lot of the times these people don't listen to our brown faces. They'll listen to a white face before they listen to ours. Right. Even if they think they're a good person, subconsciously, that's what they do, and I'm not saying they're bad people for that, but there's a lot of like unfortunate generations long indoctrination that makes their brains just automatically just kind of switch that way and just kind of go, oh, this white face is talking to me, I'm going to listen over this brown face or whatever. So just kind of be aware if you feel yourself doing that, just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. Like, hey, I think I'm doing that and I need to not do that, Right. That's what I have to add to it.
Yeah. Or even, I was just going to add on to that, because there are studies that show all of like the implicit biases that people have, and like you don't realize it, but these biases exist. And so what you can do, instead of being like, oh, maybe I'm doing this, do the opposite. Be like consciously seek out people who don't look like you, amplify their voice, listen to them, amplify their voices, and make sure that when there are discussions happening, that you're like, look around and be like, are there any people of color? Are there any women? Are there any non-binary queer people of different perspectives, different ages, whatever it is? Like, look around the room and see like who is missing from this room, and then go find somebody who fits, who can fill that role or that hole that's there. Because it's one thing to like we're never going to get over our own biases unless we actively try to do the opposite. So that's I just wanted to add that onto what you were saying.
JJ?
The thing is, like, I've been in like rough situations when I was talking about Star Wars like 2 years ago. The amount of vitriol, the account banning, the account lockdowns, it was a lot at that time. It turned me off so much that but then in the back of my mind, like, if I get that, how others get it? It's probably 10 times worse. So I almost have to like shut my brain off for a second if I want to continue doing this, because it gets exhausting. So I'm like, I'm going to step away. I'm not going to do Star Wars content anymore. And I haven't for a while. And sometimes, like, I saw your video, Natasha, the one you made today. Loved it. And I'm like, do I want to stitch her and invite who I know is going to come into their comment? My apologies, I'm sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like, when I get it,
Yeah.
so I almost have to ask you for permission in the background, like privately. Do you mind if I put this out there on my account? Because I get vitriol.
Yeah.
You are going to get it handful. So I have to be careful with that. Like, I've been stitched by other people, even neutrals, that have put me in very uncomfortable situations. So I'm coming from like a personal experience.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Being mansplained Star Wars when I'm being told, well, actually, it's been done to me. I hate it. And that's part of that toxic positivity. Oh, I'm trying to have a conversation with you. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So I'm cognizant of that from personal experience. So like, if I see somebody like Kate, for example, his videos are, I've been like literally reposting all of it.
Yeah.
If it's on my FYP, like I will comment and I like it and put it in favorites. Watch it for at least 10 seconds. That's important. Like, you got to feed that algorithm. At least, even if you don't have time, like, lower the volume at work and just let it run.
Yeah.
There's all these little silly things that you want to do, like, to kind of, like, push that content out. So, as soon as that's on FYP, that's when you have to, like, step up your game. Not here. That's important. That's how videos go popular.
Yeah.
I try to do that as much as I can. Like, I'm trying to limit my time on this app as well because it's been exhausting, especially with Acolyte. I was watching all the reviews. One guy had like 500,000 likes on a negative Acolyte review, and I was like, oh my god.
Somebody had double the amount of comments as likes on one of the videos.
David too, if I remember, Kari too, like on that Gaza comment.
Unbelievable, disgusting.
Unbelievable. And I think you're right, JJ, like the platform that you invite other voices onto really matters. With Taco, what he was saying earlier about his podcast, that's different. That's a different platform that inviting people on isn't necessarily going to drive hate back to us as much. Whereas you're right, with stitching on TikTok, there has to be a little bit of that cognizance of
and I think, like,
am I just going to send attendance?
If you do, like, come to my TikTok account, make a House of the Dragon video, it will be no problem. Like, I have that part of fandom, at least where I'm at in my space, honed in. Fucking Clorox and shit. Like, nobody comes into my House of the Dragon video is gonna find anything problematic in that comment section. I guarantee it. I Clorox the hell out of it. Star Wars, even now in the video I made, I have to go in there after we're done and start clearing, taking the trash. So that's why I'm like, I have to be careful with Star Wars inviting, especially my friends of color, putting on my account with 260,000 people and expose them to that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah.
It's been done to me and it's very unpleasant, very unpleasant.
Yeah.
So I have to be careful. I really do. Like, that's why I'm like, whenever people like share other videos, like, did you ask for permission? Did you ask for consent? Is this okay to share? Like, to me, that's important. I want to be asked. I've been put in uncomfortable situations where I wasn't asked. It was shitty.
Yeah.
It's different. Again, if you want to make House of the Dragon video on my account, make 15. You will no problem. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Star Wars, on the other hand.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, if I put Natasha's video on my account, even in my story, or I fit you, who am I? Does that make sense? I mean, that just
it
makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah.
I do my best to promote, like the repost thing, active favorites, 10 seconds or more. Those things will feed the algorithm and engaging in a meaningful way.
Yeah, you know, TikTok squashes, like, anyone that's brown, they squash our shit. Like, nobody sees it.
They do.
Just done.
And then you have to seek it out. You really have to, like, search your name. Sometimes I think, like, is Dawn making videos? Like, you just on my followers.
You see my videos, they only get like 260 likes and then that's it. Or views and then that's it. It stops pushing it after that.
I literally have to seek you out in friend search to see, are you making videos?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So those kind of things, I think we can do to make sure that the videos, like if you're doing Star Wars content and you're doing some fun stuff, there's lore video, you talk about Madara Nisenya, like a Brandok lore, shit like that, like put it in, promote it, like stuff like that, like engage with that show in like a fun way. Like literally these bigots are so fucking stupid. It's gonna go over their head.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if you're talking about the fandom, and that's what I did, and that's my mistake. I should never talk about Star Wars fandom. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's why, like I said, my House of the Dragon, my Game of Thrones videos, my Song of Ice and Fire videos, that comment section, I promise you're not gonna see some bullshit. Mm-hmm. You're not. Yeah. And it took me a while to clean that up, but that is a lot of blocks. A lot of not engaging. Yeah. Delete.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, obviously.
I apologize.
No. This
no, you're good.
I was gonna recommend one thing, and I don't know if this is like applicable to everybody. I just know it's helped me because obviously TikTok is not great filtering out horrible comments and things like that. I went into my settings and I went into like the filter comments section, and I just put a whole bunch of words in there. Yeah, I put in like woke, Disney, like I put all of
blurs,
that, all of that, and so all of that now goes into like this filtered section that I will like check once in a blue moon. Sometimes like it'll be somebody responding and be like, oh, what is woke about it? Like you just don't know like somebody that's actually defending, but because the word is in there, which I would prefer that it over filters, but that has like saved my sanity a little bit.
Just
with
be
the
careful.
comments, and I don't get as many as you. Obviously, I don't know if this is helpful to everybody. I just wanted to share my own personal thing that helped.
Just something to be aware of, like depending on the word, it will capture another word if the word that you banned is in that.
Yeah. Well, I think with the filtered one, it's very specific.
Your engagement will slow down because the TikTok is grabbing, and like this comment section is what feeds the algorithm.
That's true.
Natural engagement.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I like. I had Ray Palpatine for a while, and I'm like, I'm not getting any comment. Why am I not getting any real conversation about Ray? I'm like, oh, now I remember why.
Oh, so even the whole phrase, even if like individual words are in there.
That's so interesting.
I got a suspension once because of the hashtag Obi-Wan Kenobi. I always share this story because it's the
viral.
I got a
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That's so stupid.
and some emojis as well, they don't like I used to use the clown emoji a lot, and then I got a warning.
Yep, because
I was using the clown
I got a strike for the clown emoji. A strike. And then I got another one for trying to appeal it.
How do you get a
so I have 2 strikes on my account now.
Kidding me.
Can I just know that the battery's about to die, guys? I just want to real quick before we
go for it.
All right, so first thing I want to say is, because people have been, one of the things that people were saying constantly, like, oh, do you guys see a light at the end of the tunnel? There's no light at the end of the tunnel because bigots, unfortunately, are always going to exist. Racism is always going to exist. Please stop with it's going to get better. Everything's going to be all right at the end. It's not. This is going to be a constant thing. It's not going to go away.
Yep.
Again, what everybody's recommending, all you need to do is be responsible for how you're, the work that you're putting in, what are you going to do about it, and that's what we do. And support each other, try to support your Black friends or Black creators or queer people of color, women. So just make sure that you know that support is there, because they're gonna keep getting a lot of vitriol and hate and stuff. Listen, Lloyd, I think you guys said already, make sure that when anytime now that you see any piece of media, anything, think about how, especially if you're a white person, think about how, okay, this people of color, what story are they telling? How is that affecting that community? You understand? And then go find people from that community, talk to them about it. Like, oh, what did you think? What was that about? Was this something that they did okay, or was there something that they needed to do better? Understand that, because that way that helps you as well understand better the story. and understand where the problem lies. So make sure that you talk to them, ask them, find them, look for them.
Yeah.
And last thing I'm going to say is don't be afraid to critique. Don't be afraid. You don't have to be a beacon of positivity all the time because you don't want to be seen as a negative person. You don't want to be lumped with the biggest. I know it's scary. It's scary. We've all been there. We've all been there. You don't want to say it because you know what? Let's just focus on the positive. No. Voice your opinion. If you're being respectful and you're having a good discourse, there should be no issue with anybody coming at you from either side, from the everything is awesome or the biggest side. You understand? And if they do, you can have that conversation here. Listen, please don't come at me this way. I'm just trying to, say my piece, and I'm just trying to have a good discourse. Like, we did this today. We were able to talk about all of this. There was no disrespect. There was no type of drama. There was no type of issues.
Yeah.
And now we see, and we were able to see that so many of us are feeling and thinking the same way.
Yeah.
So the community is there. Don't think that you're going to be alone out there if you come out and critique something. And again, be responsible for how you react to a critique of something that you love. Go at it with an open mind. Don't immediately say that because it's something that they spoke something, negative, like not in a toxic way, it's just a critique of something that you love that is immediately negative and it shouldn't have been said. No. I love Anakin. And can I get mad and tell people that they're wrong every time they say something that is truthful about Anakin, the bad stuff about Anakin? I can't get mad at that. Yeah. I can be like, no, don't say that because you're making me feel bad because that's my favorite character.
Yeah.
I can't do that. You understand? Yeah. So don't be afraid. Critique, we're here. You already seen the people that were in the comments. You see us here. You already know that we're the type of people that you come and talk to. If you need to, look for us. Come look for us in our comments. Ask a question. We try to engage. So we got you. We got your back, people. Don't worry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this was so great. I appreciate all of you guys for being willing to be part of this conversation. I think that this was great. I think that everybody who was in the comments and participated, asked questions and hyped us up, I really appreciate you guys. And I'm excited to have more of these conversations. We need to be lifting up this kind of discussion in all, not just Star Wars fandom, but in all of these fandoms. We really need to do all the things conversation.
Yeah.
So I appreciate y'all. This was really lovely. I am absolutely going to be doing another one of these sometime soon. And yeah, I appreciate you guys.
Love you all.
Yeah.
This was amazing.
Love you guys.
I love that this was just opening, that we could keep on having these type of discussions and we could keep on doing lives like that every once in a while. Kind of bring us back in and give us energize us again. Okay, good.
Discourse. I want to hit on Bridgerton so bad. Let's do it.
Oh my God.
Can we act live about Bridgerton?
Oh my God, yes. Pick a date, I will be there.
Oh shit! I got
knowing now what I know about Jess Brownell.
Oh no!
Hey, by the way, I'm still in my watching Bridget. I will make sure I finish it before this discussion.
No, you need to
watch.
Yeah. Me and JJ were texting each other when we were watching it because we had screeners. We were like, "What the hell is this?
Fuck is going on?"
Oh, justice for Penelope.
Yes.
Let me know when you want to talk about that.
Finish the second half and let's do this another night. I swear to God.
I'm
always are doing math. I'm calculating pollen time. I swear to God. Girl did full math, calculator, whiteboard, time, percentages. I'm like, oh shit, we are cooked.
All right. I love you guys.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.